The marriage between Qing Raowei and Si Ying-song had nothing to do with love. It was entirely due to the intricate web of business interests connecting their two families. Si Ying-song was a wealthy playboy from Yuncheng, perpetually entangled in scandals. Having a model on one arm and a socialite on the other was commonplace for him. Reputable, established wealthy families would never push their own daughters into the fire pit that was Si Ying-song. Ultimately, it boiled down to Qing Raowei being an illegitimate child. Although her adoptive mother hadn't made life difficult for her, in terms of material comforts, she wouldn't hesitate for a second. On the day they first met, Si Ying-song immediately tried to intimidate her. After glancing at her just a few times, his face filled with disdain. "I have absolutely no interest in women of your type." She cursed him inwardly, but on the surface she smiled sweetly. "I return the sentiment entirely." A mocking smile touched his lips. Quite the sharp tongue. Si Ying-song had actually investigated her beforehand and found her utterly boring. She worked as an editor at a third-rate. On weekends, she mostly stayed in, occasionally going out shopping with her close girlfriends, completely different from the high society young ladies he usually associated with. Naturally, she was different. Qing Raowei's birth mother was merely a bartender. By some twist, Qing Raowei was only taken in by the Qing family after she was old enough to understand things. Her birth mother, it was said, took a sum of money from the Qings and vanished. Her origins became an open secret within the Qing family. And for Si Ying-song, she wasn't likely to be a good lover, but she certainly could become a nominal wife who minded her own business, which was exactly what he needed. The corners of his mouth curled up, his expression slightly teasing. "I presume Miss Qing is aware that whether we are willing or not in this marriage is secondary. If the negotiations fall through, both you and I have other candidates waiting. You're a sensible person. If you have no objections, we can just make do. After all, with your looks, it would be hard to find another willing to settle for you." Qing Raowei felt nauseated, but she maintained her smile on the surface. "Compared to some of the real frights out there, your looks are at least acceptable to the public. Even though you're a cad known for flings with numerous starlets, as long as you keep me out of it, I can reluctantly accept the arrangement." Realizing he couldn't gain the upper hand in this war of words, his tone softened slightly. "Good. After marriage we go our separate ways. In name only." She tilted her head. "Deal." After the wedding, at Qing Raowei's request, Si Ying-song let her live in a city centre flat under his name, while he himself moved to a remote villa in the southern suburbs. After that, their paths never crossed again. She was his wife in name, yet she had to hear about her husband's romantic escapades from others. One day he'd be spotted on a sweet getaway to the Maldives with the daughter of the Li conglomerate. The next, he'd be seen passionately kissing the popular actress Tian Cici on the streets of Paris. People at the publishing house felt somewhat sorry for Qing Raowei, but she herself didn't seem to mind. The first time their lives truly intersected again was when Qing Raowei returned home early to fetch some work documents and stumbled upon a half-drunk Si Ying-song wrestling on the bed with Lin Xing, an incredibly popular internet celebrity. It was a real fight. A large piece of fabric was torn from the sleeve of Si Ying-song's shirt. He tilted his head towards Qing Raowei, then kicked Lin Xing off the bed, followed by a loud crash. The bed collapsed. Lapsed. Lin Xing scrambled up, rubbing her backside, furious. "Si Ying-song, you'll be mine sooner or later." She then shot a fierce glare at the bewildered Qing Raowei, snatched her backpack from the floor, and stormed out. "Hey, Mr. C. Care to give me a reasonable explanation?" A faint smell of alcohol hung in the air. Qing Raowei leaned against the doorframe, rubbing her nose. Si Ying-song, who was sitting cross-legged on the collapsed bed frame, innocently smoothing down his hair, looked up at her question. Then he squinted and let out a silly chuckle, his tone lazy. "Am I handsome?" Qing Raowei rolled her eyes. "Are you insane?" Just as she was pondering what vocabulary to use to berate this scoundrel, his phone rang. Si Ying-song glanced at the screen and didn't answer. He got up, grabbed his jacket from beside the bed, and put it on. "Lin Xing set me up." The statement came out of the blue. Qing Raowei was puzzled and about to ask for details when Si Ying-song tossed her a set of keys. "Stay at the South Suburbs villa tonight. I'll get someone to clean up here tomorrow and replace this bed of yours. I'll have the locks changed too, so I don't mistakenly end up here again. Although Ching Raowei caught the keys, her face showed clear reluctance. Still somewhat drunk, his eyes glistening, he looked at her. What? Don't want to go? He raised an eyebrow. If you don't mind appearing in the gossip section, you could always get a hotel room. Ching Raowei clenched the keys tightly. Although there was no affection between them, their wedding had been a massive, widely publicized event that everyone in Yuncheng knew about. If she checked into a hotel, she would undoubtedly become prime material for the paparazzi. Si Ying-song's reputation was already in the gutter anyway. She had no desire to be dragged down with him. Understood. Ching Raowei opened the wardrobe, intending to grab a change of clothes. I have things to do. I'm off. Si Ying-song pressed his temples as he walked out. Ching Raowei chased after him and called out, Hey, you've been drinking. Don't drive. He stopped and looked at her with utter disbelief. You're concerned about me. A friendly reminder based on basic human decency. Don't drink and drive. Please remember that, Mr. C. Si Ying-song, his eyes bleary, laughed. Right. Don't car drink. I know. He took out his phone and dialed a number. Ah, Xing. I'm at the city flat. I've been drinking. Come and pick me up. Ching Raowei stifled a laugh. Endearingly silly. Hey, you. Come here. Si Ying-song pointed at her, his expression mysterious. What? She asked, but found herself walking over nonetheless. Unexpectedly, Si Ying-song pinned her against the wall in the hallway. Can I kiss you? His voice thick with intoxication, he leaned in close. Ching Raowei, startled, pushed him away with all her might. Are you insane? The next second, she scurried back into the flat like a frightened rabbit. After closing the door, she concluded that her brain must have short-circuited moments ago to ever find that rake remotely endearing. Ching Raowei was somewhat sensitive to unfamiliar beds. Even though the guest room at the South Suburbs villa was perfectly appointed, she hadn't slept comfortably. She drifted in and out of sleep until 9 a.m., waking grudgingly. The familiar alarm tone on her phone hadn't sounded at 8 a.m., reminding her it was Saturday. Just as she finished getting ready and was about to go downstairs, she looked up and saw Si Ying-song walking through the front door, with Lin Xing clinging to his arm. Auntie Zhang heard the commotion and emerged from the kitchen, smiling. Young master, breakfast is ready. Would you like some? Her smile vanished the moment she spotted Lin Xing. Xing-song grunted in acknowledgement, pulling Lin Xing to sit at the dining table. Noticing Ching Raowei looking down from the stairs, the corners of his mouth curved upwards. Just woke up? Looks like you slept well last night. Ching Raowei watched as Lin Xing stuck to Si Ying-song like glue, feeling a wave of disgust. When he was drunk, he'd kicked her out without a second thought, but sober, he'd clearly coaxed her right back. Men. Auntie Zhang, however, was genuinely pleased to see Ching Raowei. Young madam is here too. Come down and have some breakfast? Ching Raowei responded cheerfully. All right. With that, she walked lightly down the stairs and took a seat at the table, not granting Si Ying-song so much as a glance the entire time. Si Ying-song felt a twinge of irritation and couldn't resist a jab. You certainly make yourself at home. Why should I stand on ceremony with the likes of you? She retorted, picking up a piece of toast and taking a bite. Lin Xing covered her mouth with her hand and let out a tinkling laugh. I heard Miss Ching comes from a wealthy, distinguished family. I must say, she's not quite what I imagined. Si Ying-song took a sip of coffee and raised an eyebrow. Oh? And what did you imagine her to be like? Well, at least not so. Tactless, Lin Xing said, resting her chin in her hands and gazing innocently at Ching Raowei. Si Ying-song smiled slightly at this, but said nothing. And Ching Raowei? She finished her piece of toast unhurriedly, took a few slow sips of milk, finally wiped her mouth with a napkin, and only then turned her gaze to Lin Xing. I thought Miss Lin, being an online fashion icon, would at least have some breadth of vision. It seems I was mistaken. Ching Raowei smiled sweetly. After hearing your words, I've given it some thought. Tell me. A married couple simply trying to have breakfast. disturbed by an outsider. Who exactly is being tactless here? Although Qing Raowei was generally easygoing and not one to fight for things, when faced with someone as affected and presumptuous as Lin Xing, she couldn't help but retort. Lin Xing's face fell upon hearing this. She looked to see Ying Song for help. Ying Song ... The saccharine tone made Qing Raowei's stomach turn. She picked up her bag and stood up, forcing a fake smile. Miss Lin, if you find today's breakfast to your taste, my husband and I will be pleased. If you find it unpalatable, then you can only blame him for being so rash as to bring you to a place unsuited for you. She looked at Si Ying-song. Isn't that right, darling? Si Ying-song was momentarily stunned by her calling him darling. It was common for women to bicker, even come to blows, over him. Usually, it just annoyed him. But today, watching Qing Raowei's sharp-tongued performance, he didn't find it unpleasant. On the contrary, he found it rather amusing. He even wondered if taking her along for business negotiations might help him win over clients in just a few words. In his days, Qing Raowei had already strode briskly out the front door. Lin Xing, unwilling to let it go, whined with a tearful tone. Ying-song, look at her. Why didn't you stick up for me? Si Ying-song felt a bit stifled and frowned impatiently. Are you eating or not? If not, I'll take you back. Seeing his displeasure, Lin Xing petulantly closed her mouth. Si Ying-song called when Qing Raowei was having afternoon tea with her best friend, Qiao Yuran. The bed and locks have been replaced. Didn't know what style you liked, so I picked the most expensive ones. Qing Raowei uttered an oh. Don't you have anything else to say to me? The words were out before Si Ying-song realized how odd they sounded. Before, he would have considered saying one extra word to her a waste of emotion. Today he'd inexplicably come out with that. What would you like me to say, Mr. C? Thank you for your generosity in selecting the most expensive locks and bed for me. Qing Raowei rolled her eyes, wondering if this instigator had any sense of shame at all. Si Ying-song chuckled. How come? Weren't you quite smooth with darling earlier? Now it's back to Mr. C? What do you actually want? She asked. Call me darling again, he teased. Piss off, Qing Raowei said calmly and clearly, enunciating each word, before hanging up directly. Si Ying-song felt a sense of defeat. Since childhood, he'd always gotten everything he wanted. Before meeting Qing Raowei, he never knew being rejected by a woman could feel so frustrating. Before, he had no interest in her, so her attitude didn't matter. After the incident with Lin Xing, he'd gained a new respect for her, which only fueled his desire to conquer her. The problem was, he didn't understand her at all. Was she susceptible to soft or hard approaches? What were her habits? Her preferences? He knew nothing. Other women either wanted his money or his looks. But her? They agreed to go their separate ways after marriage, and she truly never once appeared in his line of sight. If he hadn't gotten drunk and stumbled into the city flat, he might have forgotten he even had a nominal wife. Over here, the moment Qing Raowei hung up, Qiao Yuran leaned in, gossip blazing in her eyes. Is this Mr. C? You mentioned the famous Si Ying-song from Yunshang, your nominal husband? Who else? Qing Raowei took a sip of jasmine tea. I don't want anything to do with a second man named Si. What did you mean about locks and beds? Once Qiao Yuran's curiosity was piqued, her eyes seemed to sparkle. How could she explain to her best friend that her nominal husband and the internet celebrity, Lin Xing, were in her apartment? Well, it seemed nothing had happened. But given Si Ying-song's notorious reputation, if the media got wind of this and sensationalized it, it would be messy. Even though Si Ying-song clearly had a devil-may-care attitude, she still had her dignity to maintain. Besides, Qing Raowei knew Qiao Yuan's temper all too well. If she found out, she would inevitably mock Qing Raowei for being spineless. Then, filled with a sense of justice, might even charge over to pick a fight with Si Ying-song to vent her anger. That's why last night, she preferred to rough it at the South Suburbs villa rather than seek out Qiao Yuran, afraid she might let it slip. And now, to avoid complicating things, Qing Raowei had to lie. I fancied a bed, but it was quite expensive. Luckily, the furniture mall owner has some connection with Si Ying-song, so I shamelessly asked him to help me bargain. When the furniture was delivered, He said my door lock was a bit stiff and helped me replace it with a new one. Oh. Kiao Yuan was half convinced, half doubting. Really? Would I get money for lying to you? Qing Raowei said, taking a few sips of her flower tea to hide her guilt. Probably not. Yuan drained her coffee. Come on, let's go see your new bed. Following the address Si Ying-song sent, Qing Raowei went to collect the new keys. He was busy in a meeting and couldn't get away, so he'd arranged for his secretary to receive her. The secretary was very polite, bowing slightly and asking what Qing Raowei would like to drink. Qing Raowei waved her hand. No need, no need. I'm just here for the keys. She couldn't help but inwardly sigh. Si Jingsong's taste was so consistent. Even his secretary had strong eyebrows and big eyes, a curvaceous figure and a soft, melting voice. After getting the keys, she hurried downstairs and got into her car, exclaiming as if she'd never seen the world before. Who would have thought? A playboy like Si Yingsong actually has to go to work. Kiao Yuan was examining her newly done manicure, not even looking up. He is your nominal husband after all. You're really not paying any attention to him, are you? Although he has plenty of outrageous rumors in the romantic department, his professional reputation is actually quite solid. Huh? Qing Raowei was somewhat surprised. Although her family had a business too, she had an elder half-brother, so matters related to business dealings and collaborations naturally fell to him. Consequently, Qing Raowei knew nothing about the business world. Fortunately, her ambitions lay elsewhere, so she lived a relatively leisurely life. Kiao Yuan turned to face Qing Raowei properly. The company you just went to was founded by Si Yingsong right after he graduated university. It's become quite well known these past few years. Can't imagine what kind of company he'd run. Qing Raowei tried to recall. While waiting in the reception room earlier, all she heard outside was the frantic clackety-clack of keyboards. Thinking of Si Yingsong's sharp tongue, she blurted out, "He didn't start a company for keyboard warriors, did he? Kiao Yuan laughed too. No, it's an IT company, specializing in software development. She handed her phone over. Look, this super popular shopping app lately was developed by his company. It's endorsed by that new internet celebrity, Lin Xing. Hearing Lin Xing's name, Qing Raowei felt a wave of irritation. She had never held any expectations for Si Yingsong. But to be fair, since they had an agreement, he didn't have to be perfect. He didn't have to love her, but he should at least give her basic respect. She didn't care if he brought other women to his own properties. But when that woman verbally attacked her, if he had just pretended to stop her, she might not have held on to it until now. She was never a petty person. But he didn't. He just stood there smiling, watching the show. It was utterly rubbish. Feeling indignant, Qing Raowei pressed her lips together, started the car and slammed on the accelerator, heading straight for the apartment. The sudden lurch startled the unprepared Kiao Yuan, who let out a sharp scream. Only after the car reached its destination did Kiao Yuan catch her breath. Qing Raowei, are you insane? Qing Raowei turned to see Kiao Yuan in the passenger seat, seatbelt fastened, clutching the handle above the door, her face pale with fright, and couldn't help but burst into laughter. You've become so timid now. Qing Raowei got out of the car, still laughing. Kiao Yuan was taken aback for a moment, then started laughing too. Yeah. When had she become so timid? Back in their university days, she and Qing Raowei would go to the amusement park, riding the pirate ship and roller coasters, screaming with excitement, never giving a thought to what fear was. Come to think of it, how many years had it been since she'd seen Qing Raowei laugh so heartily? Outsiders thought of her as the precious second young miss of the Qing family, but only Kiao Yuan knew how hard she had to tread carefully, how difficult it was for her. University was probably the happiest time for Qing Raowei. She had a best friend who'd go through thick and thin with her, and a boyfriend who'd pluck the stars and moon for her, who cherished her deeply. If only they had been braver back then. Kiao Yuan shook her head. There was no if. Over the years, Qing Raowei had never mentioned a single thing about him again, so she too had to swallow all those past memories and bury them deep in her heart. Qiao Yoren jogged to catch up and saw Qing Roe standing dumbfounded at the doorway. Puzzled, she followed Qing Roe's gaze. The next second, Qiao Yoren's mouth fell open, becoming another stunned statue. The most expensive bed Si Ying-song had mentioned was now before them. A grandiose European-style bed adorned with gold leaf carvings, glittering and extravagantly opulent, completely clashing with the apartment's simple and elegant decor. "This is the new bed you fancied. It's so ostentatious." Qiao Yoren covered her mouth. "This isn't your style at all." Qing Raowei closed her eyes and massaged her temples. It truly wasn't her style. She always disliked flashy, overly intricate things. People change, you know? Qing Raowei forced an awkward laugh. TSK. Behind the red doors, meat and wine go to waste. Out on the road, lie bones of the frozen. When did you pick up the bad habits of the rich? Qing Raowei, give me back the simple, innocent girl from back then. Qiao Yoren made as if to tickle Qing Raowei, who promptly surrendered. I give up. Let me treat you to a fancy meal, all right? Hearing eat. Qiao Yoren agreed readily. Fine, I'll let you off for now. It was only after they had eaten and drunk their fill that a message from Si Ying-song came through. Is the bed satisfactory? Qing Raowei snorted coldly and replied, Satisfactory. Thanks. Do not reply. Si Ying-song's finger slid over the message Qing Raowei had just sent. Other women would jump at the chance to talk to him for 3 days straight. But she was directly shutting him out. He wasn't unfamiliar with women playing hard to get, but this Qing Raowei genuinely did not hold him in any regard. He knew that when she said, do not reply, she truly meant she didn't want him to reply. Si Ying-song lit a cigarette, took a drag, and exhaled. In the hazy smoke, he recalled Qing Raowei's face. When they first met, he told her he wasn't interested in women of her type. The women he liked were always the stunning kind. The ones who captivated you at first glance. Beautifully dazzling and overtly alluring. Qing Raowei's features were very delicate, and she disliked heavy makeup. It wasn't that she wasn't beautiful, but her beauty was restrained. The first time he saw her, Si Ying-song found her bland and uninteresting. Now, thinking back, he found that face rather appealing and enduring. He picked up his phone and typed out a line. Can't help but reply. But Qing Raowei clearly could help it. He smoked half a pack of cigarettes and still didn't get a response from her. So he stubbered out his cigarette, grabbed the overcoat from the back of his chair, and decided to go find her. Arriving at the apartment building, he glanced up through the car window and saw the light on the 5th floor. Si Ying-song smiled wryly to himself. How long had it been since he'd felt this impulse to just go see someone directly? This woman, Qing Raowei, seemed toxic. She always appeared so calm and detached, almost ascetic. But to Si Ying-song, it was like a massive boulder had been thrown into a placid lake, setting off layer after layer of turbulent waves. He called her. Come down. I want to see you. Qing Raowei was lying on the sofa in her pajamas, watching TV. Hearing this, her first thought was that Si Ying-song, that idiot, was drunk again. Mr. Si, you've dialed the wrong number. Please check your contacts again and find a certain Miss Lin. It's you I'm looking for, Qing Raowei. His voice was slightly low and hoarse, somewhat suggestive. Little did he know Qing Raowei was completely immune to this. She frowned. Si Ying-song, if you're drunk, go home. If you're sick, go to the hospital. Don't disturb me watching TV. With that, she hung up and tossed her phone far away, muttering under her breath, Psycho. In the pursuit of women, Si Ying-song had never been in such a sorry state. He reclined his seat a bit, took out another cigarette, and lit it. In a moment of clarity, he understood what attracted him about Qing Raowei. Her aloof and proud temperament was strikingly similar to a girl he had loved in his youth. Si Ying-song left Qing Raowei alone for a while. And she was so thrilled she almost considered going to the temple to burn incense in gratitude. In response to the chief editor's call in the work group chat last night, Qing Raowei got up especially early this day and even applied a careful, exquisite makeup look. The headquarters of the publishing house had finally remembered their long-neglected, small branch and was sending a senior manager for an inspection. In other words, if this publishing branch's performance was poor and operating at a loss, there would be no need for it to continue existing. Conversely, if it was doing well, headquarters would allocate some funds to expand the branch's scale. The better to secure business and generate profit. The chief editor assigned Qing Raowei the task of meeting the manager at the airport, so she naturally had to carry it out meticulously. If she made a bad impression at this stage, losing her job would be minor. Causing the entire branch to get the axe would be a far greater sin. Everything was going smoothly initially, but she never expected the flight to arrive a full hour early. Staring at the empty arrivals hall, Qing Raowei's mood sank to rock bottom. The sign in her hand, printed with "Welcome General Manager Jiang for the inspection," slipped and fell to the ground. But then it occurred to her. The airport was only a 10-minute drive from the publishing house. If this manager Jiang had gone there directly, surely the chief editor would have contacted her. Clinging to a sliver of hope, Qing Raowei opened her phone's contacts, found General Manager Jiang's number, and silently prayed that Manager Jiang was a reasonable person. After all, no one had informed her about the flight's early arrival. The moment she dialed the number, she heard a familiar voice behind her. "Raowei, long time no see." Qing Raowei turned reflexively and saw a long-lost face. His phone was ringing, and the screen clearly displayed the name Raowei. Qing Raowei ended the call, her eyes slightly moist, and smiled. "Long time no see, Jiang Hui." She never could have imagined that the general manager Jiang her editor spoke of would be Jiang Hui, her warm, spring-like boyfriend from university. Jiang Hui seemed unchanged, still clean-cut and handsome. Yet he also seemed different, dressed impeccably in a suit, possessing the refined air of all successful people. "Have you had breakfast?" he asked, his tone as gentle as the winter sun. "Yes, I have," Qing Raowei said, struggling to hold back the ache rising in her nose. "The chief editor and the others are waiting. We should head back soon." Before she finished speaking, her phone rang. She looked and saw it was Si Ying-song. It felt like a needle pricked her brain. Feeling a headache coming on, she sighed and hung up. Within seconds, the phone rang again. Irritated, Qing Raowei hung up once more. Jiang Hui, seeing Qing Raowei's tightly pressed lips, knew she was in a foul mood and asked softly, "Aren't you going to answer?" "It's a psycho. Don't mind him," she said, forcing a smile. "Let's go." "All right." He smiled too, his clear, bright eyes shining as if they held stars. Qing Raowei averted her gaze, her heart filled with a tumult of emotions. Jiang Hui seemed just like the Jiang Hui of old, gentlemanly, warm, impossibly wonderful. But she was never one for dreaming. No matter how good he was to her, he was merely an old acquaintance she hadn't seen in years. Si Ying-song called again. Qing Raowei closed her eyes, having truly reached her limit. "Excuse me, I need to take this call." She maintained an even tone with Jiang Hui with effort. Jiang Hui nodded. She immediately walked a few steps away to answer. "Si Ying-song? What the hell do you want?" Si Ying-song, sitting in the VIP lounge, watched Qing Raowei through the glass door, his tone flat. "Who's the man with you?" "None of your bloody business." Qing Raowei frowned deeply. "Are you having me watched? Do I look that bored to you?" "You do." Si Ying-song shrugged unconsciously. "I'm going on a business trip. Just happened to see you on a date with your little lover. Thought I'd call to check in. Why can't you appreciate the concern?" Qing Raowei laughed in frustration. "Mr. Si, are we close?" "Not particularly," he said, licking his lips. "But still, you are my wife. Can't we connect occasionally for old time's sake?" Qing Raowei didn't want to waste any more time. "Mr. Si, I'm very busy. Please don't call me unless it's important. We agreed back then. After marriage, we go our separate ways." "Who agreed?" "I forgot." Qing Raowei felt like choking on her own blood, nearly dying on the spot. "Mr. Si, I always thought you were a gentleman." "I'm not," he interrupted. "I'm a rake." Qing Raowei gave up. Reasoning with a scoundrel never worked. "Si Ying-song, what exactly do you want?" "What do I want? I haven't figured that out yet." "Fine. Think slowly then. I'm not keeping you company." Just as she was about to hang up, the other party hung up first. Suppressing her inner fury, Qing Raowei glanced up towards the VIP lounge and saw Si Ying-song standing at the entrance. raising his phone towards her in a little wave. Psycho, she muttered under her breath. Jiang Huai walked over. All sorted? Yes, all good, let's go. She offered an apologetic smile. Si Yingzong watched their retreating figures, the smile on his face now irrepressible. This time I hung up first, he said, curling his lips. That counts as winning a round, doesn't it, Ah Xing? Zhou Xing was currently engrossed in a heated WeChat chat with his own girlfriend, and could only reply dismissively, Yes, boss. He was utterly perplexed. What was so great about hanging up first? The publishing house hosted a banquet to welcome Jiang Huai. Everyone was in high spirits, doing their utmost to curry favor with manager Zheng, who held the future of their branch in his hands. Only Qing Raowei was in low spirits. She took small sips of her juice and occasionally ate a few bites of food, her mind wholly occupied with figuring out how to keep Si Yin-song out of her life. One after another, people toasted Jiang Huai. He truly had no energy left to pay proper attention to Qing Raowei, and seeing her so downcast left him with a sour feeling in his heart. After several rounds of drinks, half the people at the table were slumped over, and the dinner concluded. The half-drunk chief editor arranged for those who hadn't been drinking to take the others home, and assigned Qing Raowei the task of taking Jiang Huai to his hotel. From picking him up at the airport until now, she had understood perfectly the chief editor was giving her chances to prove herself. It had been rumored for a while that the chief editor was being transferred to a position at headquarters. Both openly and discreetly, she had been delegating more management responsibilities to Qing Raowei. Anyone at the publishing house with any perception understood that Qing Raowei was the undeniable candidate for the next chief editor. Once almost everyone had left, Qing Raowei stood up to support Jiang Huai. Can you walk? Jiang Huai's eyes were red. I'm not drunk. He stood up as he said this but was utterly unsteady on his feet. He smiled apologetically. Raowei, my legs feel like jelly. She helped him into the car and fastened his seatbelt. Throughout this, Jiang Huai's eyes were glued to Qing Raowei, not willing to look away for a second. I heard you got married, he said. You heard a bit late. It's been several months now. She said it lightly, but the words felt like a sharp blade slicing across Jiang Huai's heart. He couldn't suppress a few coughs. How could he not know she was married? Her wedding to Si Ying-song had caused a sensation across all of Yuncheng, splashed over every newspaper. Even though he had long since left Yuncheng, he had learned the news almost immediately. He was just using the alcohol as a pretext to voice the sentiment. The hotel wasn't far. Qing Raowei parked the car and helped him to his room. His body was limp and weak. The moment Qing Raowei guided him to the bedside, he collapsed onto it. She took off his shoes and pulled the quilt over him. Is he good to you? The question that had circled his mind 1,000 times finally found its way out. Tucking in the corner of the quilt, she replied calmly, Quite good. He could no longer restrain himself. He pulled her towards him. Caught completely off guard, Qing Raowei's head thumped against his solid chest. You're lying, he said. If he were good to you, I wouldn't have come back. She didn't struggle, just rested quietly against his chest, listening to his strong heartbeat, momentarily unsure how to respond. Raowei, I was wrong. I regret it. His voice, choked with tears, made him sound like a child denied a sweet. Qing Raowei stood up, evading the hand he reached out to hold hers. What's past shouldn't be mentioned again. Jiang Huai smiled bitterly. You're still you. You haven't changed a bit. As always, clear in her likes and dislikes, leaving no room for others to fantasize. I have changed. She tucked a stray lock of hair behind her ear. I'm no longer that fool who only knew how to wait for you. Back then, they had just graduated university, and as wished, joined different departments of the same publishing house. They commuted together every day, working hard for their shared future. Not long after, Jiang Huai said he wanted to make his mark in a bigger city, and asked Qing Raowei to wait for him to return successful and marry her. So she waited, full of anticipation, full of joy. But what she got was him breaking up with her. She cried her eyes out, went through a period of bleak, uneasy days, and finally found a new lease on life. But that once soft heart had since armored itself, no longer easily moved. Jiang Huai's heart grew cold inch by inch. Back then, Qing Rao's adoptive mother, the Mingfeng, had sought him out, hoping he would leave Qing Rao. The Qing family was an established, powerful clan in Yuncheng. It was reasonable for the family to want to find a well-matched young master from a similar background for Qing Rao. But Jiang Hui couldn't give up easily either. So he made a deal with the Mingfeng. She would provide him with seed money to start his own business. If he succeeded, she would allow him to marry Qing Rao. If he failed, he would leave Qing Rao and never appear before her again. Back then, Jiang Hui was young and impulsive, utterly self-confident. He gambled his and Rao's happiness and lost completely. He broke up with Qing Rao, ruthlessly changing all his contact details. But he couldn't forget her, so he drowned himself in work. Working day and night, he finally made a name for himself at the publishing house headquarters, only to hear the news of her marriage. Devastated, he drowned his sorrows night after night, seeking news of her by any means. He heard her married life wasn't happy. How could it be? Married to a playboy like Si Song. So he found an opportunity to come to Yuncheng for this inspection and hinted to the chief editor to have Qing Rao pick him up. The moment he saw her, he wanted to hold her, but she was polite and distant towards him. If he could turn back time, he would never have made that bet with the Mingfeng, gambling their future. During those decadent days of despair, he had also questioned why so many clients who had verbally agreed suddenly changed their minds, offering flimsy excuses. But without evidence, anything he said was futile. He was wrong. He had been wrong. He had to take responsibility for his decision. Ra, please forgive me, he pleaded, struggling to sit up. Qing Rao looked at him, not a ripple of emotion in her heart. You're drunk. Get some proper rest. I'm leaving. Perhaps due to the alcohol. Jiang Hui couldn't suppress a sob. Lost possessions can be repurchased. But a lost love, once gone, is simply gone. Qing Rao closed the door, shutting the room full of sorrow behind her. The next day, before her wake-up alarm had even sounded, Qing Rao's phone was nearly blown up with calls from Kiao Yoren. Qing Rao squinted, grabbing her phone. Sis, what time is it? What's so urgent it can't wait until I'm awake? Sleep, 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 is that all you do? Your house is on fire and you're still sleeping. Kiao Yoren sounded exasperated. Look at the front page of the Yuncheng Entertainment News. Oh, what nonsense has Si Song gotten into now? He told me he was on a business trip, but I knew he must be off visiting some close friend or another. Qing Rao yawned. I have zero interest in his affairs. I'm going back to sleep. Not Si Song. It's you. You and another man. Staying out all night. Qing Rao's sleepiness vanished instantly. What rubbish are you talking about? She opened the Yuncheng Entertainment News website. A blown-up photo of her helping Jiang Hui into the hotel was plastered across the gossip homepage, accompanied by exaggerated headlines. Young master Si frequent visitor to flower gardens. Young madam retaliates with secret liaison. Qing Rao took a deep breath to prevent herself from passing out from lack of oxygen. Secret liaison? Liaison with your bloody grandmother. These gossip papers were experts at talking nonsense, spinning wild tales from a single photo. The news outlets certainly had wide-ranging information channels. In just one night, they had dug up Jiang Hui's entire background. Things like skipping 2 grades in primary school due to exceptional results, being admitted early to a key municipal high school, his university entrance exam scores far exceeding the top-tier threshold, being fought over by various universities. Qing Rao broke out in a cold sweat. Was this kind of information really suitable for the gossip section? Thanks to this newspaper, she was discovering that Jiang Hui was far more accomplished than she had ever known. Large sections were dedicated to introducing Jiang Hui, if not for the vivid paragraphs describing Qing Rao as a resentful, neglected wife who lamented her fate daily and drowned in tears. She might have thought it was a profile piece singing Jiang Hui's praises. The article ended with a cliffhanger. After this frontal assault, will the second young miss of the Qing family have more moves up her sleeve? Let us wait and see. Wait and see? If your eyes are useless, please donate them to someone in need. Her simple, cooperative relationship with Si Song had been wildly dramatized into a saga of scheming and intrigue among the wealthy. It was a pity the gossip editor didn't become a screenwriter. Never mind that young Master C's scandalous, womanizing news had no impact on her. Even if she were madly in love with him, she would never stoop to degrading herself to get back at him. Qing Ruowei tried hard to calm down. Anger was secondary. What mattered more was her adoptive mother, the Mingfeng's stance on this matter. As feared, no sooner had she changed out of her pajamas than a message from the Mingfeng came through. Come home. As soon as possible. Her heart filled with trepidation. Qing Ruowei deliberately drove slower than usual. Si Yingsong called. She thought for 2 seconds and answered. Your little lover is quite outstanding. Si Yingsong's tone was cold. Anything else? If you're here to mock me, please be quick, precise, and ruthless. I'm in a hurry to go home and get lectured. She hadn't wanted to answer, but she was all too familiar with Si Yingsong's relentlessness. It was better to let him have his fill of mockery. In your eyes, am I that kind of person? You are. Once again, bringing trouble on himself. Si Yingsong felt like slapping himself twice across the face. When he saw the news, it felt like a thunderbolt had struck his heart. Seeing Jiang Huai at the airport, Si Yingsong had immediately had someone investigate his background. He didn't care one bit about Jiang Huai's seemingly charmed life resume. The only point he cared about was that this man was Qing Ruowei's university boyfriend. So, after finishing his business negotiations, he declined the client's enthusiastic invitation for leisure activities and flew back first thing in the morning. The moment he landed, he couldn't wait to call Qing Ruowei. Get lectured about what? He asked. Qing Ruowei glanced at the call screen. Young master, I'm begging you. Act like a decent human being and stay away from my life, okay? If not for him, given Qing Ruowei's way of doing things, she would just be another anonymous face among Yuncheng's countless women, never having such troubles. She had understood the ways of the world since childhood, keeping her head down and staying out of trouble within the Qing family. Now that this had happened, the Mingfeng would inevitably be displeased. Biting, sarcastic barbs were her specialty. Qing Ruowei felt a headache coming on. She had deliberately slowed down, but the journey home was only so long, and she arrived soon enough. No, Si Yingsong said, getting into his car and instructing Zhou Xing in a low voice. To the Qing residence. Qing Ruowei didn't want to say another word. She hung up directly. She lingered at the entrance for a while longer before finally going in. As soon as she entered, she saw Qing Yuanshang and the Mingfeng sitting on the sofa. One reading the newspaper, the other drinking tea. Dad, Mum. Qing Ruowei called out and walked forward. Qing Yuanshang grunted in acknowledgement without looking up. The Mingfeng put down her teacup, stood up, and slapped Qing Ruowei across the face. Smack. The crisp sound of the slap made her ears ring. Zhou Xing, following his boss's instructions, drove the private car like it was a fighter jet, cutting a 20-minute journey down to a mere 10. Si Yingsong strode through the entrance of the Qing residence, just in time to hear the Mingfeng scalding reprimand. Look at the fine mess you've made. Utterly shameless. No matter how much Si Yingsong messes around, the Si family stocks keep rising. You think you can copy his style without the same power? Go and see how many points the Qing family stocks have dropped. Useless thing. Several clear finger marks lay across the pale skin of Qing Ruowei's left cheek. She glared furiously at the Mingfeng, her hands clenched into fists. I guarantee, this is the last time I'll take a hit from you without fighting back. Qing Yongshang watched coldly, unconcerned. But the Mingfeng was momentarily stunned by the fury in Qing Ruowei's eyes, unsure how to react. Si Yingsong stepped forward and pulled Qing Ruowei into his embrace. Mum, wasn't your hand a bit too heavy? Out of respect, he called her Mum, but his tone was icy. Seeing Si Yingsong's deeply furrowed brows, the Mingfeng's heart skipped a beat, and she flustered. She had always known her son-in-law paid little attention to Qing Ruowei. They'd never even been seen together after the wedding. She never expected him to come to her defense today. While the Mingfeng stood there awkwardly and unsure, Qin Yongxiang set down his newspaper and smiled. Ah, Yingsong, you're here. It's rare to see you. Stay for lunch today. Si Yingsong refused bluntly. No need. He tightened his arm around Qing Ruowei and looked back at the Mingfeng. Wei Wei is an adult now. A verbal scolding would suffice. Was physical punishment necessary? Furthermore, since she's married me, shouldn't you give me some face when disciplining her? The Mingfeng felt embarrassed upon hearing this. Yingsong, But she couldn't find a good excuse. Her face a picture of anxiety. It was Qing Yongzhang who stood up to smooth things over. All right, your mother was just a bit impatient. We're all family, nothing we can't get past. Si Yingsong's stern expression relaxed slightly. Dad, Mum, I'll take Wei Wei home first. Without waiting for their response, he guided Qing Raowei out. Thank you. Qing Raowei inhaled sharply, tears involuntarily falling. She hadn't wanted to cry when the Mingfeng hit and scolded her. She hadn't wanted to cry when Qing Yongzhang ignored her. But now, the person she least expected to help her had appeared just in time to do so. Her current mood was like that of a wounded beast that had run to a cave to hide. It could lick its wounds and heal its heart by itself. But the moment someone showed it kindness and concern, it could no longer bear it. Does it still hurt? He asked. Even though her cheeks still burned, Qing Raowei bit her lip and shook her head. I'm going back. Si Yingsong's concern felt too sudden. They weren't from the same world. It was better to draw a clear line early. Qing Raowei started the car and slowly drove away. The emotions she had suppressed for years seemed to have been torn open, and her tears could no longer be held back, pouring out in a flood. She was never one to submit meekly to injustice, but the Mingfeng always used the debt of upbringing to pressure her. Usually, she could deflect the overt and covert insults with subtle skill. But today, the Mingfeng had struck her without even distinguishing right from wrong. Qing Raowei finally resolved never to give her another chance to hurt her again. Si Yingsong caught a brief glimpse of her profile. Stubborn and forlorn. It touched his heart, and he suddenly felt a strong desire to clean up his own reputation. At least to salvage a bit of goodwill in Qing Raowei's heart. For so many years, the outside world had called him a cad, a playboy. Yet not a single woman linked to him in the tabloids had ever stepped forward to accuse him of any wrongdoing. He asked himself. He had never wronged any woman. Originally, given his nature, he couldn't care less how many accusations people threw at him. But now, he cared what Qing Raowei thought. So, he instructed Zhou Xing to drive and follow her. Qing Raowei was too distraught to notice Si Yingsong following her. It wasn't until she was closing the door to her apartment, and he pressed his palm against it, that she looked up with a startled, I have something to ask you, he said. Ask away. Her eyes still held tears as she avoided his gaze. You and Zhang Huai, did you what? She looked puzzled, then understood. If I said no, would you believe me? Hearing this, the uneasiness in Si Yingsong's heart instantly settled considerably. I believe you. Of course. He believed her. Qing Raowei didn't seem the type to do such a thing. Even if she really wanted something to happen with Zhang Huai, why not do it at home? She knew full well the consequences of going to a hotel. Initially, hearing Si Yingsong say he believed her had made Qing Raowei somewhat happy. But when she looked up, she saw the clear delight on his face. I knew you were up to no good. How can you be gleeful at a time like this? Qing Raowei trembled with anger and slammed the door shut. Bang! The wind from the swinging door made Si Yingsong close his eyes reflexively. Tisk. Her temper was really something. But that wasn't necessarily a bad thing, he thought. He had originally intended to explain his relationship with Lin Xing to her. But now there was something more important to do. Zhang Hai was woken by Si Yingsong's incessant, urgent calls. After a quick wash, he rushed to Si Yingsong's company. On the way, he checked the gossip section of the Yunsheng Entertainment News and instantly understood the purpose behind Si Yingsong summoning him to a press conference. The press conference was set up in the meeting room of Si Yingsong's company. News outlets, big and small, were invited, with the sole exception of the Yunsheng Entertainment News. On the large screen, the surveillance footage of Qing Raowei helping Jiang Wei into the room at the Yansu Hotel, and then leaving played on a loop. From helping him into walking out, it had only taken 6 minutes. The corners of Si Yingsong's mouth twitched upwards uncontrollably. Mr. Jiang, you've seen the Yunsheng Entertainment News, right? They said you only lasted 6 minutes. Jiang Huai laughed. I'll have my lawyer contact the person in charge at Yuncheng Entertainment News shortly. Mr. C, you shouldn't listen to hearsay. Or else no girl will be willing to marry me in the future, and you'll have to take responsibility. Neither of them addressed the incident directly, but with those few words, everyone understood. The Yuncheng Entertainment News had distorted the facts. The press conference was streamed live on the shopping app developed by Si Ying-sung's company. Thanks to its massive user base, nearly 100,000 viewers tuned in shortly after it started. Ching Raowei was channeling her grief into appetite, devouring a large plate of her homemade egg-fried rice, when Kayao Yoren called again, right on cue. Wei, today I'm going crazy for Si Ying-sung. If they weren't on the phone, Ching Raowei would have reached out to feel Kayao Yoren's forehead to see if she had a fever. What nonsense are you talking? Si Ying-sung held a press conference. It was live-streamed on that shopping app I told you about. The one Lin Xing endorses. It's hard to explain. I recorded it. I'll send it to you. Kayao Yoren hung up and sent the video immediately. Ching Raowei set down her chopsticks, clicked on the video, and instantly understood Kayao Yoren's fervor. While she had been racking her brains for a solution, Si Ying-sung had already taken action to restore her reputation. The deliberate exclusion of the Yuncheng Entertainment News from the invited reporters was a clear slap in the face to that newspaper. Ching Raowei silently gave Si Ying-sung a thumbs up in her mind. The man was on another level. As soon as the press conference ended, Si Ying-sung drove straight to Ching Raowei's place. He had only one thought in his mind: see her. But when he actually saw her, all he could do was stand there grinning like a fool. He really wanted to pick her up and say, "I'm so happy nothing happened between you and Jiang Wei." But reason told him that such words would undoubtedly anger her. "Do you need something?" Ching Raowei held the door half open, showing no intention of inviting him in. His smile faded. "Ching Raowei, do you have a conscience?" "I don't. I'm heartless and cold. At least you're self-aware." PH. He unceremoniously pushed the door open. "Something smells good. What are you eating?" "I'm starving. I haven't had lunch." Ching Raowei returned to the dining table. So many women would love to have lunch with young Master Si. "Can't you just arrange one?" Si Ying-sung acted as if he hadn't heard her. He walked straight up to her, snatched the spoon from her hand, scooped up a mouthful of egg-fried rice and ate it. Not bad." Ching Raowei stood frozen. "Hey, that's my spoon." "When did you buy this spoon?" Si Ying-sung asked through a mouthful of rice. Finding it unsatisfying, he simply sat down, moved the plate of fried rice in front of her towards himself, and began eating it bite by bite. Double quotes. ... Few days ago. "Why? Then how can it be your spoon? Assets acquired after marriage are shared, understand?" Ching Raowei was speechless for a moment before finally saying, "Si Ying-sung, I knew you were a scoundrel before, but I never knew you could take it to this level." Si Ying-sung looked up at her. "I'll take that as a compliment." Then, he lowered his head and continued eating. Ching Raowei rested her chin in her hands and watched Si Ying-sung. His cheeks were puffed out with food, making him look like a hamster. He really must be hungry. He probably hadn't eaten, going directly to retrieve the surveillance footage and hold the press conference. This was the first time Ching Raowei examined Si Ying-sung carefully and seriously. His facial features were sharp and defined, his skin very fair, making his strong dark eyebrows even more prominent. He had a pair of captivating eyes, clear and bright, like pools of spring water. Below his straight nose were two thin, rosy lips. He really was a handsome man. Si Ying-sung finished the remaining rice and looked up, meeting Ching Raowei's gaze. "Do I look good?" he asked. Ching Raowei resisted the urge to roll her eyes. "Smile for me." He obediently smiled. His captivating eyes curved slightly, cute like crescent moons. "Quite good looking," she said sincerely. That wasn't easy. Gaining her approval was truly no simple feat. Ching Raowei started clearing the bowls and chopsticks. "You ate my food. Now I'll go hungry." "Pay up." Si Ying-sung leaned closer. "Will I do as payment?" "Piss off." Ching Raowei turned and went into the kitchen. Just as she turned on the faucet, Her phone on the table rang. Ying-song brought it to her, saying sourly, "Here, your old flame is calling again." She shot him a sidelong glance. "Answer it for me." Then she tilted her head back slightly, expecting him to hold the phone to her ear, but he directly put it on speakerphone. "Raoei, I'm sorry you had to go through that because of me." Jiang Huai's voice sounded hollow. Qing Raoei replied while washing the dishes. "Since it's already been clarified, let's not say such things. This matter wasn't your fault to begin with. I'll have someone else assist me with the inspections of the publishing house departments." Jiang Huai paused. "Take care of yourself." Qing Raoei knew Jiang Huai was doing this to avoid further gossip. What she didn't know was that Jiang Huai's heart was currently full of conflict. He both hoped she was doing well, and hoped she wasn't. He was no longer clear about his own feelings towards Qing Raoei. He even had the shameless urge to ask Qing Raoei if they could start over. Hearing this, Ying-song, standing nearby, couldn't hold back. "Thank you for your concern, Mr. Jiang. Wei Wei is my wife. I will take good care of her." Qing Raoei's hand stilled. Silence fell on the other end of the phone. After a long while, Jiang Huai said in a hoarse voice, "All right. I wish you happiness." Ying-song ended the call and placed the phone back on the table. After finishing the dishes, Qing Raoei went to wipe the table. Ying-song pressed his hand over hers. "You asked me before if I believed nothing happened between you and Jiang Huai. Well, if I told you that nothing happened between me and Lin Xing that day, would you believe me?" "No." She withdrew her hand, answering directly and cleanly. Ying-song smiled wryly. "I knew it. Think about it. If I really wanted something to happen with her, why would I kick her off the bed?" "How should I know? Maybe you have some unspeakable, peculiar preferences, Mr. C." Qing Raoei clicked her tongue twice. "Are you trying to piss me off to death so you can get a new husband?" "Yes." Qing Raoei yawned. You ... He really had no way to handle her. "My relationship with Lin Xing is purely professional. She endorses my shopping app. I pretended to be her boyfriend for a few days to help boost her popularity. It's that simple." Oh. For some reason, hearing him explain himself seriously gave Qing Raoei a slight secret sense of pleasure. "But why? Lin Xing is quite beautiful. Who says you have to sleep with someone just because they're beautiful?" Ying-song walked over and flicked Qing Raoei's forehead. "You're beautiful too. Can I sleep with you? You filthy rogue." Qing Raoei raised her hand to rub her forehead and kicked out at him, but he easily dodged. Ying-song then remembered her face was still slightly swollen. His heart ached as he asked, "Does your face still hurt?" "I used an ice pack. It doesn't hurt anymore." She gently patted her cheek. "Even if that's the case with Lin Xing, what about the sweet getaway to the Maldives with the daughter of the Li conglomerate? And the passionate kiss with the popular actress Tian Sisi on the streets of Paris? Is there anything the Yuncheng Entertainment News wouldn't print? If I went out alone with your mother, they'd probably write that I'd fallen for her. Would you believe that?" Ying-song found it both funny and exasperated but patiently explained. "The sweet getaway to the Maldives with the Li heiress is pure nonsense. I was there to discuss business with her father. She just tagged along for the trip. She's 15. A minor. I'm not that depraved." He moved a stool over and sat down, continuing. "As for Tian Sisi, she endorses one of my company's products. I took her to an exhibition in Paris. Her manager suggested taking a few photos together and putting out some vague announcements about us to let the audience speculate and generate buzz, which would boost her popularity. The more popular she is, the better the promotion for my product. It's a common tactic in their industry. We were just mutually benefiting each other. I just didn't expect her to suddenly kiss me, and for the paparazzi to catch that exact moment. If you don't believe me, go look at the passionate Paris kiss photo. See if it's her kissing me." Qing Raoei actually went and searched for that news item. In the photo, Tian Sisi was smiling as she kissed the corner of Ying-song's mouth, while Ying-song's face clearly showed a trace of surprise. If they were all misunderstandings, why didn't you clarify them immediately when the news came out? "Because I didn't care about those things." "Then why explain them to me now?" "Why?" He looked at her, grinning widely. "Because I've fallen for you." Because I like you, I no longer want to carry these undeserved accusations. Because I like you, I hope that in your heart, I am an image as good, if not better, than Jiang Huai. Because I like you, I want you to like me too.
Renyu, the person in charge of the Yinchang Entertainment News, was in a foul mood. In the past, when they cooked up gossip involving Si Ying-song, he had always just laughed it off. Even if they only had a perfectly ordinary photo of a friend's dinner. And the gossip section editors went through hoops to spin a slightly scandalous story about Si Ying-song. He never seemed to mind. Birds. This time, it was as if they had touched a reverse scale. His swift and decisive series of actions had suppressed the Yunchang Entertainment News to the point they could unhold their heads up. Renyu frowned deeply. Rumors outside were rife that Qing Ryoe and Si Ying-song were a contractual couple with no emotional foundation. But now, it seemed that might not be entirely true. For the newspaper to continue operating stably now, they had no choice but to admit their mistake, yield, and publish a sincerely worded statement. Jiang Huai's lawyer's letter arrived with startling speed. Ren Yu called him to express his profound apologies, promising to make the utmost effort to restore both his and Miss Qing's reputations. He also pledged to control the spread of public opinion as much as possible, hoping Jiang Huai would drop the lawsuit. Jiang Huai's tone was unreadable. My reputation is far less important than Miss Qing's. Before she sues you, go and beg her forgiveness first. If she doesn't press charges, I'll give you a chance and drop the lawsuit. So, Renyu had no choice but to call Qing Ryoe. The ringing phone mercifully broke the prolonged silence that had followed Si Ying-song's deep confession. Si Ying-song was highly displeased. Who is it? Qing Ryoe shook her head at the unfamiliar number. Don't know. So he reached over, grabbed it, answered, and put it on speakerphone. Hello, me. Ask if this is Miss Qing Ryoe's number. It is. Who's this? Lie. The voice on the other end was humble. This is Renyu, the person in charge of the Yunchang Entertainment News. I'm calling specifically to apologize to Miss Qing. Our newspaper has already deleted the false report regarding Miss Qing and Mr. Zheng. We are trying our best to recall the already sold copies. A formal apology statement is also being drafted. We sincerely hope Miss Qing can forgive our mistake this time and not sue us. Si Ying-song looked up at Qing Ryoe, signaling for her to speak. She was generally easygoing. Regarding the entertainment news's reckless reporting, she had taken a slap from the Mingfeng and was naturally angry. But after Si Ying-song's god-tier handling of the situation, most of her anger had already dissipated. So, she cleared her throat. I reserve the right to sue. If your newspaper spreads rumors and involves me again, I will still use legal means to protect myself. Renyu was immensely grateful. Yes, of course. I will strictly control the authenticity of future gossip reports. Thank you for your forgiveness, Miss Qing. Si Ying-song brought the phone closer to his mouth. This is Si Ying. Arrange the clarification and apology statement as soon as possible. There's one more thing I need you to do. Certainly, Mr. C. Please, just give the order. Take down all the previous false reports about me. He chuckled. My company's performance isn't as important as my wife's happiness. Si Ying-song's words were clever. They indicated that he had previously ignored those undeserved gossip stories for the sake of boosting his company's profile, while also making his current feelings clear to Renyu. Qing Ryoe was smart. She knew that after he said this, the Yunchang Entertainment News would never again publish false reports about their relationship. Was good news. It's just... Hadn't the progress of their relationship been a bit too fast? Over the past few days of contact, she had felt gratitude and admiration towards him, and her initial dislike had gradually faded. But acting like a newlywed couple, as they were today, was something entirely new. This feeling... seemed not bad either. Si Ying-song hung up and handed the phone back to Qing Ryoe. Wei, a new steakhouse opened on Wenyu Road. They say the taste is quite unique. Shall we go together tomorrow evening? Qing Ryoe's heart skipped a beat. Plenty of people around her called her by her full name, or Ryoe, but he was the first to call her Wei. I didn't go to work today, and I didn't ask for leave. I don't know if I'll have to work overtime tomorrow. Si Yingsong's lips twitched slightly. If you don't have overtime, let's go, okay? Seeing the formerly haughty Si Yingsong now so patiently inviting her to dinner, it would seem affected if she kept making excuses. So she nodded. All right, send me the address later. After work, it's a date.
The Yunchang Entertainment News acted with impressive efficiency. By the afternoon, they had issued a formal apology statement and launched a large-scale redistribution of the newspaper. Simultaneously, they thoroughly deleted all previously published, fabricated gossip about Si Jin-song from their official website's database. They also briefly and clearly highlighted the recent affectionate state of the Si couple. In the eyes of the netizens, Si Ying-song's public image transformed overnight from a playboy into a reformed family man who dotes on his wife. The enthusiasm of the online community soared, with attention shifting to Qing Raoei's perceived skill in taming her husband. The Yuncheng Entertainment News, benefiting from this misfortune, gained a massive wave of new followers riding on the heat. Ren Yu, watching the rapidly rising follower count in the back end, was thrilled. It seemed it was time to adjust the newspaper's future development strategy. The era of relying on a single photo and fabricated hype was coming to an end. He was confident that more and more people preferred genuine and interesting gossip content. Si Ying-song, seeing the apology statement from the Yuncheng Entertainment News, was clearly in an excellent mood. With a grand gesture, he ordered afternoon tea for the entire company. Qing Raoei had asked for leave from her chief editor. After all, going to work with a slightly swollen and red face would invite a lot of speculation. The Mingfeng sent her a message. Her tone polite. Raoei dear, I've had the staff prepare a sumptuous dinner. Please invite Yingsong to join us. Qing Raoei suppressed her disgust and deleted the chat. What she didn't expect was that the Mingfeng had also messaged Si Yingsong. Riding high on his good mood, Si Yingsong happily agreed. On the way, he had Zhou Xing stop at a nearby mall to buy 2 sets of high-end skincare products. Zhou Xing had been with Si Yingsong since the company's inception. For 4 years, he had worked diligently as his assistant and driver. Although others in the company saw them as superior and subordinate to Si Yingsong, Zhou Xing had been there through the toughest, most challenging early days of the startup, offering help and encouragement. Si Yingsong had long considered him a brother. Zhou Xing was also always bluntly outspoken in front of Si Yingsong. Just like now, having returned with the skincare products, he saw Si Yingsong's thoughtful smile in the rearview mirror, and couldn't resist asking, So, which newly popular goddess are we sending gifts to this time? Following past patterns, whenever a third-tier female celebrity suddenly went viral on some platform, or in the entertainment circle, Si Yingsong would find a way to contact them, sign short-term contracts, collaborate on promoting the company's software, and broaden business channels. During the cooperation, Si Yingsong would also accommodate the marketing strategies devised by the artist's management to boost the artist's popularity. After going through this model, third-tier stars could basically enter the second-tier film and television circle. With good luck like Tian Cixi, they could directly shoot up to A-list status. Even Lin Xing, the internet celebrity he had recently collaborated with, had smoothly entered the acting world, leveraging the gossip surrounding her and Si Yingsong. Si Jingsong stroked his chin and glanced over. What goddess? There wasn't one before. From now on there's only one. Who? You think? His eyes curved into smiles. Go pick up Qing Raoei. Zhou Xing had a sudden realization. Oh, I see. Zhou Xing wasn't clear about Si Yingsong's romantic history, only hearing he had in university. Later, although he often associated with different types of women, Zhou Xing had never seen Si Yingsong truly care about any of them. The paparazzi only ever photographed him entering hotels with women, but they never paid attention to how soon he left, let alone delved into the presence of a tall person like Zhou Xing, also being in the hotel room. Those seemingly intimate photos that circulated were nothing more than stage shots arranged by the artist scenes in collaboration with Si Yingsong. But this time, Zhou Xing genuinely felt that the smile on Si Yingsong's face came from the heart. He smiled inwardly, feeling quite pleased. Qing Raoei was only giving Si Yingsong face by going with him to the Qing residence. After all, He had just helped clear up the hotel scandal for her. The Ming Feng was very enthusiastic, serving Qing Raowei food and ladling soup for Si Jing Song. Qing Yongshang, on the other hand, seemed somewhat unnatural, forcing a smile as he urged them to eat more. Qing Raowei and Si Ying Song responded politely. Their gazes met mid-air, and they shared a knowing, faint smile. After the scandal with Jiang Huai broke, everyone thought the Qing-Si alliance marriage was doomed, and the Qing family stocks plummeted. Who would have thought the Yunsheng Entertainment News would issue an apology statement, causing the Qing stocks to surge wildly again? People say the entertainment world is unpredictable, but the love-hate relationships among wealthy families are no less dramatic. After dinner, Zhou Xing never came to pick up Si Ying Song. Instead, he sent a message. "Boss, I'm not coming. It's such a rare opportunity. Let the missus drive you back to deepen your bond." Si Ying Song smiled wryly and helplessly, then walked over to Qing Raowei's car and opened the passenger door. Qing Raowei was fastening her seatbelt. "What's up?" "You. Xing said something came up and he can't make it. I can only trouble you to give me a lift." For some reason, facing Qing Raowei's bright, large eyes, he suddenly felt a bit nervous. The words, "Can't you take a taxi?" on the tip of Qing Raowei's tongue changed to, "It's quite troublesome to get a taxi here. I'll drive you." "Okay." Si Yin Song obediently sat down. The lights in the yard were a bit dim. Qing Raowei's face glowed softly under the light. He looked at her and thought she was truly beautiful. He must have been blind before not to see it. "Fasten your seatbelt," she reminded him. He rarely drove, usually sitting in the spacious back seat, so he often forgot to buckle up. Qing Raowei was about to start the car, but saw Si Yingzong making no move. "What's wrong?" "It's my first time in your car. I don't know where the seatbelt is. Are you?" Qing Raowei stopped herself, choking back the words "an idiot" in her throat. Pursing her lips, seeing his innocent and clueless expression, she believed him. So? She unfastened her own seatbelt and leaned over to fasten his. Her breath was close, a few strands of her long hair falling and brushing against the tip of his nose. He felt his mouth go dry. Click. The seatbelt successfully locked into place. He couldn't hold back any longer. He raised his hand, cupped her face, and kissed her. Qing Raowei completely didn't expect Si Yingsong to do this. Wide-eyed and flustered, she didn't know how to react. Her lips felt hot and tingling. She heard her own heart pounding thump, thump, thump. Then she pushed him away, returned to her seat, and gasped for breath, not daring to look at him. She cursed inwardly. Si Yingsong, that big liar. My brain must have short-circuited to believe he couldn't find the seatbelt. He found her reaction amusing, and couldn't help but prop his chin on his hand, watching her. After calming down a bit, Qing Raowei used the back of her cool hand to lower the temperature of her burning cheeks. Then she fastened her seatbelt and stepped on the accelerator, driving Si Yingsong straight to the south suburbs villa. "We single quotes re ... here." Qing Raowei still didn't dare look at him. He had been smiling the whole way, his mouth still unable to close. Then ... see you tomorrow evening. Right. They had agreed to have dinner together tomorrow evening. It was a date. Si Yingsong unfastened his seatbelt, leaned over, and quickly pecked Qing Raowei on the cheek. "Remember to miss me," he said, then gave a triumphant smile and got out of the car. Qing Raowei was both annoyed and amused. "Miss you, my foot?" She immediately turned the car around and drove towards the city center. Stopped by a red light, she remembered the kiss. His lips had been soft and hot with a faint hint of mint. The feeling wasn't bad at all.
The next day at work, Qing Raowei, for some unknown reason, found herself distracted while proofreading manuscripts. Si Yingsong's face, pretending to be innocent, kept popping into her mind, making her grit her teeth in frustration. She tried to focus and properly finish her work, but it was no use. Si Yingsong's words, "Remember to miss me," kept echoing in her head. And indeed, she had been thinking about him constantly, over and over, from last night's insomnia until nearly time to leave work. It wasn't that she had fallen in love and couldn't bear the separation, but rather, she felt that since fate had tied them together in this marriage, if things could develop in a positive direction, it might be acceptable. As she was leaving work, Cao Yuan called to ask Qing Ryoe out for dinner. I knew you must have been super busy these last couple of days, dealing with the Yuncheng Entertainment news mess. So, I deliberately didn't bother you. Aren't I so considerate? Yes, you are, Qing Ryoe said. 2. Pinning the phone between her cheek and shoulder while using both hands to organize a pile of documents. I can't believe the guy you were linked with was Zhang Weiyi Yuan. Was unusually excited. You too. Haven't rekindled your old flame, have you? Ha ha ha. What nonsense are you talking, Qing? Ryoe finished organizing the documents and took the phone properly. You and I are already in the past. Zhang Wei, who happened to overhear this, halted his steps, standing about 5 paces away from Qing Ryoe, holding a cup of her once favorite cappuccino. So, are you coming out to eat with me or not? I have plans today. Let's have a meal together this weekend. After hanging up, Qing Ryoe picked up her bag and car keys and turned around, only to see Zhang Weiyi walking towards her. He offered her a bright, sunny smile and handed her the cup. Here, your favorite cappuccino. I bought it on my way back after finishing some errands. On the way, he had detoured through several streets specifically to buy it from the coffee shop she loved. Zhang Wei said it casually, not wanting to make her feel uncomfortable. Qing Ryoe smiled. Thank you, but I haven't drunk this for a long time. She pulled a thermos from her bag and waved it at him. Nowadays, I still prefer warm water. Ah, right. So many years had passed. Could people's preferences remain unchanged? Cappuccino was what she liked in university. It felt like a lifetime ago. I have things to do. I should get going. Qing Ryoe gave a slight nod and walked past Zhang Wei. Zhang Wei stood there for a long time, holding the cappuccino. Qing Ryoe's words, he and I are already in the past, stabbed at his heart painfully. So, it turned out, he was the only one still trapped in the memories. Qing Ryoe followed the address Si Yingsong had sent her and arrived at the restaurant early. Si Yingsong, however, was stuck in traffic. Anxious, he called Qing Ryoe. Don't call while you're driving. Qing Ryoe scolded him. But I miss you. ... double quotes. Qing Ryoe was both annoyed and amused. This man really was a scoundrel. Say something, wife. Si Yingsong was stuck at an intersection, still 2 blocks from the restaurant. Drive properly, or I won't pay attention to you anymore. Okay, fine. Then order the dishes you like first. He softened his tone, as if coaxing a child. Got it. See you in a bit. Si Yingsong hung up, his heart feeling as sweet as if it were smeared with honey. Those mere 2 blocks took a full 30 minutes due to the traffic jam. Finally, he parked the car, only to see Qing Ryoe rushing out of the restaurant. Before he could even roll down the window to call out to her, she had already gotten into her car, stepped on the accelerator, and sped away. His phone rang at that moment. Yingsong, a friend of mine has run into some trouble. I need to go over there now. Wait for me a moment. Just moments before, she had received a call from an unknown number. It was Zhang Wei. He said he'd had a small accident. His phone was broken. He had no money on him, couldn't get a taxi, and asked if she could please pick him up. She knew Zhang Wei all too well. If he weren't truly desperate, he wouldn't easily ask her for help. Moreover, during the call, she faintly heard a girl's voice near him saying words like hospital and bleeding, which made her worried as a friend. Si Yingsong had a bad feeling and blurted out, which friend? Ah, just a colleague from the publishing house. Qing Ryoe instinctively avoided mentioning Zhang Wei's name, thinking she shouldn't make Si Yingsong overthink it. Okay, then I'll wait for you at the restaurant. Before hungry, order some food first. I'll be back as soon as I can. Be good ... She had naturally started coaxing him. Even startled herself. Si Yingsong was already happy. She called him Yingsong. Now he was utterly flattered. All right then, I'll be good. After hanging up, he sighed. Then, as if possessed, he drove off to follow her. When Qing Ryoe arrived, Zhang Wei was squatting on the ground, his face pale. A girl with short hair stood nearby, looking helpless. You're here. Zhang Wei stood up. Sorry to trouble you. One of his hands hung limply. Although several band-aids were stuck to his palm, Blood was still trickling down his fingers. What happened to your hand? Ching Raowei frowned. The girl nearby then spoke up, her voice tearful. Sister, my bag was snatched. This older brother helped me get it back, but the guy had a knife and cut his hand. Sets, we should take a taxi to the hospital, but he refused, saying he'd only go after you arrived. I had no choice, so I just bought some band-aids from the convenience store. Seeing the girl was about to cry, Ching Raowei quickly comforted her. It's okay. This older brother is very tough. You once played basketball with a fractured foot and didn't make a sound. She patted the girl's head. You should hurry home. It's getting dark. I'll take him to the hospital. I'll trouble you, sister. The girl turned and bowed to Jiang Wei. Thank you, older brother. Then she wiped her tears and ran off into the distance. Get in the car. I'll take you to the hospital. Ching Rayo turned as she spoke, but Jiang Wei pulled her into an embrace. Rayo, I was just thinking. If that knife had stabbed my heart, if I had died, would you have cried for me? When the thug pulled out the knife, too. This thought had suddenly flashed through Jiang Wei's mind. But the guy didn't have much nerve. He just wanted to scare him. After the small knife cut his palm, the guy dropped the bag and ran. Si Yingsong, witnessing this embrace from his car, slammed his hand hard against the steering wheel. A friend. A colleague from the publishing house. True, it wasn't exactly a lie. He really wanted to rush out and punch Jiang Wei, but thinking of Ching Raowei, he hesitated. Ching Raowei broke free from Jiang Wei's embrace. Don't talk nonsense. Then, grabbing him by the wrist, she pushed him into the passenger seat. Si Yingsong's heart felt like it was being squeezed tightly, the pain leaving him speechless. Tears welled up in his eyes, spun around, and finally fell. You must have shared so many beautiful memories with him. In your heart, he must be more important than me. Si Yingsong let out a deep sigh, turned his car around, and drove away.
Ching Raowei took Jiang Wei to the hospital and got him registered for emergency care. The wound wasn't deep, but it was a full 5 centimeters long. The doctor recommended stitches, after the sutures and a tetanus shot, and once the doctor confirmed there were no other issues, Ching Raowei drove him back to his hotel. This time she was wiser. She simply stopped the car at the hotel entrance and let Jiang Wei go in by himself. Jiang Wei opened the car door, then turned back to ask, Raowei, if you're unhappy, give me another chance, okay? Ching Raowei looked at him and gave a radiant smile. No need. I will strive to be happy. There was no self-deception, no feigned strength. She truly, genuinely had let go. Jiang Wei returned to his hotel room, lay on the bed, curled up, and couldn't hold back his tears. He had finally lost her. No, he had already lost her long ago. On the drive home, Ching Raowei finally remembered that Si Yingsong was still waiting to have dinner with her. So, she called him while rushing back towards the restaurant. Si Yingsong didn't answer her call. When she arrived at the restaurant, she found it had already closed for the night. She was filled with remorse, feeling she had wronged him. At this moment, she felt exactly like a heartless cat who toys with affections and then abandons them. But Si Yingsong wasn't answering his phone. Anxious and flustered, she could only keep calling. She thought he must be angry. That's why he didn't want to answer. On the 10th attempt, Si Yingsong finally picked up. Yingsong, I'm sorry. My friend had his hand slashed by someone. I took him to the hospital. That's why I was late. It's the first time I've encountered something like this. I was a bit flustered and forgot you were still waiting. Please don't be angry, okay? Her explanation was earnest, her attitude humble. Si Yingsong's voice was very low. He's ultimately more important than me, isn't he? What? Nothing. He sniffled. I've already gone home. You should head back early too. Let me treat you to dinner tomorrow, okay? She could sense his sadness and wanted to make it up to him. We'll talk about tomorrow. He hung up first, afraid he might break down and cry uncontrollably in front of her. He had been parked outside her building for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Every minute, every second was agony. He didn't know why he had suddenly become so fragile, wanting desperately to cry, yet forcing himself not to, which was exhausting. His heart was heavy. that he still waited until he saw Qing Raowei park her car, go upstairs, and enter her apartment before he finally got out of his car and walked into a nearby bar. What can dispel melancholy? Only the wine of Dukang. He chose a very dark corner, watched the men and women on the dance floor swaying to the rhythm, and poured glass after glass of liquor down his throat. He lit another cigarette, took a deep drag, and blew out one smoke ring after another. Watching the white smoke, tinted into various colors by the bar lights, he couldn't help but laugh out loud. Someone walked over, placed a hand on his shoulder, and said in a coquettish voice, "Handsome, all alone." Seeing Song took another drag of his cigarette, then tilted his head to look at her, slowly exhaling the smoke. "Yeah." The woman gave a seductive smile. "Want me to keep you company ... As she spoke, her hand landed on his thigh. Ying Song stubbered out his cigarette, grabbed the woman's wandering hand, feeling only a wave of nausea rising in his stomach. "Hiss off." His cold tone startled the woman. She quickly stood up and left. Ying Song, squinting, drained the last drops from the bottle, then walked out of the bar. Qing Raowei had boiled some noodles for dinner. She had just finished washing the bowl when someone knocked on the door, asking who is it. She dried her hands and walked towards the entrance. Who could it be so late? She looked through the peephole. Standing outside was Jin Song. "What are you doing here?" She opened the door and he practically fell forward into her, losing his balance. Smelling the strong mix of smoke and alcohol on him, she instinctively frowned. "You went drinking?" She helped him to the sofa. Ying Song suddenly laughed, then, laughing, turned to crying. "Is Jiang Huai really that important in your heart? Do you know, when he held you, I was so sad. I was so sad I thought I was going to die." Him saying this made Qing Raowei realize he had seen. No, that was a misunderstanding. Qing Raowei got up to fetch tissues to wipe his tears, but he picked her up in his arms. "What are you doing?" She felt a bit panicked. He didn't speak, just silently carried her into the bedroom and dropped her onto the bed. "You're drunk!" Qing Raowei yelled at him. Ying Song looked at her, still silent, and began unbuckling his belt. Smack! Qing Raowei slapped him hard across the face. Ying Song's head turned to the side, his eyes red. "Your heart is full of him, isn't it?" "No." "Then kiss me." Drunk, he was like a child, pouting, his dazed eyes glistening. Qing Raowei was both angry and amused. If she had the ability to reduce the ever-smooth Ying Song of the romantic and business worlds to this state, it was quite a feat, since they were already husband and wife, and she felt considerable goodwill towards him in her heart. Then from now on, they should just live properly together. So she stood on her tiptoes and kissed him. When he woke up the next day, Ying Song's head was splitting. Fragments of last night flashed in his mind, and he instantly became fully awake. Hearing a clatter from the kitchen, he immediately rushed in. Qing Raowei was frying an egg, and had accidentally knocked the nearby pot lid onto the floor. She was bending down to pick it up when a large hand suddenly reached out and grasped hers. Ying Song turned her hand over, looking at it carefully. "Did you hurt your hand?" Qing Raowei, looking at the seriously concerned Ying Song blowing gently on her hand, couldn't help but laugh. "No. I just dropped the pot lid. Last night, we ... Ying Song's cheeks felt hot, a bit embarrassed. Damn it. Over the years he'd seen all sorts of women, but in front of Qing Raowei, he seemed to be rediscovering the person he was when he first experienced the flutterings of love. Saying it like that sounded rather nauseating, but the palpitations in his heart grew stronger each time. All of this was because of Qing Raowei. He knew he had fallen uncontrollably in love with the woman before him. "Last night, after I kissed you, you fell asleep." "What?" "We didn't what?" Qing Raowei asked, suppressing a laugh. "Nothing." Ying Song swallowed, masking his embarrassment. "I have things at the company today. I should get going." "Not staying for breakfast?" Qing Raowei asked softly. "Not eating?" Ying Song said in a low voice, immediately putting on his shoes and fleeing as if escaping disaster. Sitting in his car, Ying Song found it absurd. He wasn't some innocent young boy anymore. So why had he acted like that just now? And last night, the atmosphere was so good. Qing Raowei had actively kissed him, and he had fallen asleep. Si Yingsong, are you lacking in that department? He stared at his reflection in the rearview mirror and muttered gloomily. A message from Qing Raowei came in. Are you coming back after work today? The corner of his mouth hooked up. Of course. Then he reconsidered. She still hadn't explained the thing with Zhang Huai. Si Yingsong, displeased, wiped the smile from his face and sent another message. Something came up at the company. Have a meeting at the South Suburbs Villa tonight. Qing Raowei had originally planned to cook a big meal for Si Yingsong after work and explain the situation with Zhang Huai from the previous day. Seeing how upset he was yesterday, he must have misunderstood her. But dinner time came and went, and he still hadn't returned. So, Qing Raowei went to the South Suburbs Villa. As soon as she entered, she saw a group of people gathered around a laptop, deep in discussion. Si Yingsong, wearing a suit, was explaining something seriously. His Adam's apple moved up and down as he spoke. His tie was loose. The top button of his shirt collar was undone, revealing a hint of his collarbone. He looked rather sexy. Qing Raowei pursed her lips, thinking to herself, it's true. A man focused on his work is the most handsome. She went upstairs on her own. Si Yingsong looked up and saw her retreating back. Slightly surprised. Boss, there's still a bug in the software's comment function. Fixing it will take some time. Does it have to be launched today? Someone asked. He felt somewhat flustered. It must launch today. Otherwise, I wouldn't have called you all here so late to discuss it. Fix this bug using the method Zhou suggested. Run a final check and then launch it. As he finished speaking, he instinctively glanced towards the upstairs. Understood, boss. Zhou, who had a good grasp of Si Yingsong's current state of mind, readily agreed. I'll take them to the study to finish the fix as soon as possible. You go. Attend to your matters. When Si Yingsong entered the room, Qing Raowei was looking through the books on the shelf. Her black dress made her skin appear even fairer. Her collarbones distinct where the straps rested. Indescribably alluring. Si Yingsong unconsciously licked his lips. What are you doing here? I would have come back after the meeting. Qing Raowei turned around. I came to explain. I'm hungry. Not listening now. Si Yingsong walked towards her. Then let's go eat. We can talk while we eat. Si Yingsong's lips curved into a smirk. The feast is right before my eyes. How could I have the mind for food? He then leaned down as if to kiss her. Qing Raowei raised her hand, stopping his lips. Don't mess around. I must clarify things about Zhang Huai. I don't want to hear it. I won't listen. Si Yingsong shook his head like a rattle drum, then found himself ridiculous and couldn't help laughing. I'm not listening. Si Yingsong, you're so childish. Qing Raowei didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I am childish. His voice became low and husky. I don't know why, but in front of you I just am. As he spoke, he moved her blocking hand aside, and regardless of anything else, kissed her lips. He was gentle, unprecedentedly so. It was as if he was handling a priceless, peerless treasure, unwilling to devour it hastily, instead carefully and meticulously savoring her. A long time later, Qing Raowei opened her eyes and reached up to gently stroke Si Yingsong's nose bridge. In the future, can you promise not to have any improper entanglements with other women? Even if you didn't say it, I could do that. His gaze was clear. And Zhang Huai? Is there still a place for him in your heart? No, Qing Raowei explained seriously. That day it was because he acted bravely, helping a young girl snatch her bag back from a robber. During the struggle, his phone fell and got smashed. His hand was injured too, and he didn't have his wallet on him, so he had to call me for help. Help is help, but why did he hug you? He pouted unhappily. Isn't that a natural subconscious reaction for anyone? His wound was bleeding heavily. He was scared to death. Seeing me arrive, feeling saved, he couldn't help giving a friendly hug. She teased him. Haha, Si Yingsong, you pouting looks just like a duck. Si Yingsong, Like hell he believed Zhang Huai hugged her out of fear. Men understand men best. If Zhang Huai didn't have ulterior motives, he, Si Yingsong, would willingly grab himself by the hair and fling himself out of the company window as an apology to Jiang Huai? Then, when he has time, could he try memorizing someone else's number? Why does he have to remember someone else's wife's mobile number? Good heavens! Qing Raowei was learning for the first time that a man's jealousy could be just as persistent and unrelenting as a woman's. Understood. I'll convey that for you when I have the chance. Qing Raowei suppressed a laugh. When she was in previous relationships, both she and Jiang Huai had had admirers. Before Jiang Huai could even start feeling jealous, Qing Raowei, with her straightforward attitude, would reject them outright. And Jiang Huai, thinking back carefully, the Jiang Huai of that time was an extremely gentle person, gentle to everyone. Even when rejecting other girls, he gave them plenty of face. Suddenly, she felt that while the past with Jiang Huai was beautiful, his gentleness was actually a flaw. If Qing Raowei argued with someone, his first reaction was to reason things out. Although he might stand up for her with a few words in front of others, afterward, he would still analyze the pros and cons, determine who was right and wrong, and impart some life lessons to Qing Raowei. Jiang Huai's behavior had certainly earned him points with the Qing Raowei of back then. See, my boyfriend is always a reasonable person. He understands human relationships deeply and never makes enemies. But now, she was no longer that naive young girl. What she needed was preferential treatment, to be the exception, to receive a gentleness reserved solely for her. Yingsung, she asked him, if one day I have a conflict with someone, would you step between us and try to reason it out? Reason what out? You are the reason. Qing Rao's heart leapt with joy. What if that person was your mother? You are my woman. If she has a conflict with you, she has a conflict with me. She wouldn't. But if I'm saying if she did. Although this question was both childish and affected, at this moment, Qing Raowei willfully insisted. Then you find a comfortable place to rest. Arguing. Let me handle it. His eyes were bright, his expression completely serious as he said this. Qing Raowei couldn't hold back the warm tears welling in her eyes. Si Yingsong, you must promise to keep your word. Si Yingsong's company launched a new writing software called W. The software interfaced directly with Qing Raowei's publishing house, making it convenient for editors to select good novels, package them for publication, and provide substantial profits for the publisher. The software became an instant hit upon release. Authors from not just Yuncheng, but from all corners of the country, gathered on the platform. Everyone started fresh on this software as small, new authors, no special privileges, no backdoors. They supported and encouraged each other, growing steadily in a friendly and harmonious environment. The chief editor was inwardly anxious and quietly asked Qing Raowei, how much does the development and maintenance of W cost? Headquarters asked me to find out. Yingsong said that as long as I don't leave this publishing house for a single day, this software will be permanently free for us. Qing Raowei reassured her. Don't worry. Even if I one day have to leave for some reason, the software won't charge the publishing house. The chief editor grasped Qing Raowei's hands, deeply moved. You two are just too awesome. Just as everyone was speculating why Si Yingsong's company would release W, a software that didn't seem profitable, the Yunqing Entertainment News was the first to publish a photo of Qing Raowei and Si Yingsong holding hands while grocery shopping. In the picture, they wore casual home clothes, smiling at each other. The comments section on the Entertainment News official website exploded. No way, no way, Si Yingsong goes grocery shopping too. His tenderness is reserved only for his little wife at home. Woo, woo. Sisters, let's go crazy for this good man who dotes on his wife. Really envy Si Yingsong. Rich girls like Qing Raowei, who are low-key and have a clean reputation, are truly rare. This one is male, 25 years old, 182 centimeters tall, 68 kilograms. Waiting online for a stunning wife. I'm better at pampering a wife than Si Yingsong. Wow, the W software was tailor-made for Qing Raowei. This man, Si Yingsong, loved. Gossip in the business circle shares similarities with the entertainment industry. New stories always overshadow the old. With this report, Si Yingsong's popularity soared. The entire internet focused on him creating exclusive software for his beloved wife. Who would still care about the truth behind those past absurd scandals? The stocks of the Jing and Si families rose several more points. The Mingfeng was naturally overjoyed, her mouth unable to close from smiling, and invited Qing Ruowei and Si Ying-song for a meal at home. This time, Qing Ruowei's elder brother also made time to return. He mentioned that his birthday was in a few days, and he planned to book a hotel for a grand birthday banquet, where he would also introduce his girlfriend, who had just returned from studying overseas. For the Mingfeng, this was heavenly news. Her son had finally learned to find himself a girlfriend. Qing Ruowei's elder brother was handsome and highly capable, just a bit aloof and unwilling to socialize excessively. Consequently, no woman had ever been linked to him in even the slightest rumor. Hearing he had a girlfriend now, Qing Ruowei was quite surprised. She really wanted to meet this future sister-in-law and see what kind of remarkable person she was, to make her usually taciturn elder brother smile when mentioning her. Si Ying-song moved completely into the city apartment. From then on, Qing Ruowei had someone providing all her meals. To satisfy Qing Ruowei's picky palate, the formidable young Master Si of the business circle tied on an apron, willingly washing his hands to prepare soups and meals. While Si Ying-song bustled in the kitchen, Qing Ruowei sat on the sofa cracking melon seeds. Remembering the various women he used to surround him, she couldn't help but wonder if he had ever been truly fond of any of them. "Hey," she called to him. He was peeling bamboo shoots. He turned his head, frowning. "Call me husband." "Husband, tell me about your romantic history." "What romantic history? I don't have one. I only have you." Si Ying-song joked with a smile. "The truth shall set you free. Resistance is futile. Your choice." Qing Ruowei spat out a seed shell. "If you don't tell me, I'll investigate myself. I'll talk. He was truly afraid of her. "I had one girlfriend in university. She was a top student, got a scholarship to study abroad. Then, we broke up. And then? That's it. Only dated one. The rest were all just acting according to circumstances." Si Ying-song shrugged and continued peeling the bamboo shoots. TSK, you never found anyone else after the breakup. It seems she's undoubtedly the eternal white moonlight in your heart." Qing Ruowei sighed. "What white moonlight? Black moonlight. My heart only has you in it." Si Ying-song shook his head with a laugh. Have you been reviewing too many romance novels? Why are you letting your imagination run wild like this?" Hearing him say this, Qing Ruowei felt much more at ease. "It's good that you know what's good for you." Qing Yunyao's birthday banquet was held at the Yunyang Hotel. That evening, the hotel was brilliantly lit and filled with guests. Qing Ruowei had been summoned by the Mingfeng to help check the guest list. Si Ying-song stood with his arms crossed, leaning against a pillar, watching his beautiful young wife, the corners of his mouth uncontrollably lifting. Today, Qing Ruowei wore a crescent white evening gown. It had no extravagant designs, just 2 rows of sparkling crystals adorning the hem. Since she wasn't the main focus today, she had only styled her hair simply, and her makeup was light, trying not to stand out too much. But even so, in Si Ying-song's eyes, she was the most beautiful one. She stood there quietly checking the list, serene and lovely. The other female guests, flamboyantly dressed, passed back and forth, serving only as her dim background. "Ying-song." Someone patted his shoulder. "Long time no see." He turned and saw a glass of wine being offered to him. Looking up, he met a smiling, flower-like face. His heart felt as if struck by a hammer. He froze for a few seconds before calmly accepting the glass. "Really, it's been a long time, Menqian." Xia Menqian's slightly curled chestnut-brown hair was swept back, accentuating her oval face and making her skin appear even fairer. 2 willow leaf eyebrows arched over her full forehead. A pair of apricot-shaped eyes smiled. Her small, cherry-like mouth was painted with an orange-red lipstick that complemented the light orange cheongsam she wore today, its collar printed with peony patterns. "These years... have you been well?" Si Ying-song raised his glass towards her. "An occasion like today isn't suitable for reminiscing about the past." With that, he downed the wine in one go. Xia Menqian could only shrug and find another topic. "Do you know why I'm here today?" Si Ying-song raised an eyebrow. "I don't know, and I'm not concerned." He offered a polite smile. "I have matters to attend to." "Excuse me." After speaking, he turned to find Qing Ruowei. Shimenkian's appearance had indeed startled him. Ever since their university days, when she chose her future over him, they had lost contact. In the first few years, he had frantically searched for her, inquired about her everywhere, flown to her city, found her school, but never managed to see her once. She had called him crying back then. "Stop looking for me, Song." Heartbroken, he asked, "Why?" "I can wait for you. You focus on your studies. When you finish and return, let's get married, okay?" She said, "My father would never let me marry someone with no ambition, who doesn't strive to improve. Let's just forget it." At that time, the C family wasn't as vast and powerful as it was now. The Xia family, however, had family businesses all over the country. Naturally, the Xias wouldn't marry their daughter to him. Song drowned his sorrows for a few days, then suddenly felt Shimenkian's words were wrong. It wasn't that he lacked ambition or didn't strive to improve. It was just that his pursuit and ideal were her. He could accept others not understanding him, but he couldn't accept that when he was being questioned, she didn't stand by his side. Later, he changed his nature, forcing himself to dig her out of his heart. Piece by piece, he completed his studies seriously, started an IT company single-handedly, and devoted himself entirely to his career, finally carving out a significant place for himself in Yuncheng's business circle. "Yingsong," Shimenkian called from behind him. "You've changed." "I haven't changed. I've just found myself again." He didn't turn his head. Shimenkian's eyes reddened, feeling wronged. But in her heart, she also understood that the Yingsong whose eyes were once full of her was gone. Qingrao was still checking the guest list. There were many attendees and she was tired, taking deep breaths. Yingsong felt a pang of heartache seeing this. He snatched the guest register and tossed it aside. "The banquet is about to start. Why are you still busy with this here? Don't mess around. It's a task Mom gave me." As she reached for the register, Yingsong stopped her. "Sometimes I really wonder if she's your birth mother." Yingsong's expression was displeased. "Can't they find someone else for this kind of thing? Does it have to be you suffering through it?" Hearing this, Qingrao was momentarily stunned, so he didn't know. This birthday is very significant for brother. Maybe Mom feels an outsider wouldn't be as meticulous with the list. Then let her do it herself. He picked up the register, spotted his mother-in-law chatting and laughing with others, and walked over. The Mingfeng was happily conversing with Shimenkian's father, Xia Kiliang, when something was suddenly shoved into her hand. She looked down. It was the guest register. "Mum, Wei Wei and I are taking our seats. Find someone else to check this." After speaking, he left without waiting for the Mingfeng's reaction. Xia Kiliang snorted coldly. "So this is your much-talked-about son-in-law? He has no manners at all." Although the Mingfeng was inwardly displeased, she didn't show it on her face. "Oh, that's just his temperament. We elders shouldn't bother arguing with someone of his generation, lest we upset ourselves. It's not worth it. He wanted to marry my daughter back then. Simply daydreaming." Xia Kiliang stared disdainfully at Song's retreating figure. Fortunately, he didn't succeed. Otherwise, what chance would our Yunyao have now? The Mingfeng grinned from ear to ear. Come, let's take our seats." The atmosphere in the hotel was lively, with the clinking of glasses and a cacophony of voices. Whether hypocritical or sincere, everyone wore a smiling face. Yingsong placed a spare rib into Qingrao's bowl. "Eat more. You're too thin. With you cooking these past few days, I've already gained a lot, Chef Si," Qingrao complained. "Next time, could you make more vegetables and less meat?" Yingsong paid no heed, just kept picking nutritious dishes to pile into her bowl. "Eat. If you don't gain some weight, I'll worry whenever you go out." "Worry about what?" Qingrao took a bite of meat. "Worry you'll be snatched away." "You?" Qingrao feigned annoyance, her face blushing. "Watch what you say in public." She felt very embarrassed, her cheeks reddening. Yingsong had spoken naturally, not deliberately lowering his voice. Everyone at the table heard and laughed, some even teasing. "Oh ho, I'll take this dose of dog food." Right then, the hotel lights went out. Yingsong reflexively reached for Qingrao in the darkness and pulled her into his embrace. Don't be afraid, he said. Then, the spotlight on the hotel stage snapped on with a click. I wasn't scared. Qing Raoei rested her head against his chest, feeling very secure. I thought there was a power outage. He patted her head and released her. On the stage, Qing Yunyao, dressed in a navy blue suit, was holding Sherman Kian's hand. A talented man and a beautiful woman, they made a very well-matched pair. Thank you all for coming to my birthday banquet. Today, I want to announce something to everyone. Qing Yunyao picked up the microphone. Miss Sherman Kian of the Shire Enterprises, and I have found a mutual affinity and plan to hold an engagement ceremony at the beginning of next month. We respectfully request your presence then to share a simple toast with us. Thunderous applause erupted from below the stage. Qing Raoei clapped while leaning closer to Si Yingsong to say, This Miss Xia is really beautiful ... Not as beautiful as you. From the moment the lights went out, Si Yingsong's gaze hadn't left Qing Raoei. Qing Raoei gently pinched his arm. What are you saying? Si Yingsong. Where's your aloof persona? I don't have a persona. I only have you. You're absolutely insane. Qing Raoei was angry but amused. Can't you be serious? I am insane. Crazy in love with you. In the darkness, Qing Raoei couldn't help rolling her eyes several times and decided not to engage further. But Si Yingsong wouldn't let her off. Grinning as he either reached out to touch her chin or leaned in to plant a light kiss on her cheek, Xia Mingqian maintained a perfect smile, but her eyes glanced towards Si Yingsong. Using the faint light, she saw Si Yingsong and Qing Raoei whispering closely together, and a sour feeling rose in her heart. Even though she and Si Yingsong had been separated for a long time, and she was the one who let go first, choosing her future over him, she had genuinely loved him back then. Now she was back. Even if they couldn't return to the past, seeing his gaze fixed on another woman made her intensely uncomfortable. There was a cafe on the western side of the Yunyang Hotel, popular with guests for its cat-petting feature. After the meal, Qing Raoei dragged Si Yingsong there to play with the cats. The cats inside were very docile. They weren't afraid of newcomers, but instead rubbed against their legs. Most were kittens, still wobbling unsteadily as they walked, utterly adorable. Qing Raoei picked up a small kitten. Little kitty, have you eaten? I'm so jealous ... Yingsong said gloomily. Qing Raoei shot him a sidelong glance. What now? You hold it but not me ... Qing Raoei couldn't hold back her laughter. Ha ha ha. Si Yingsong, can you please not be so affected ... Fortunately, this cat-petting corner only had the two of them. If outsiders heard, who knows how shocked they'd be. Only affected for you. He winked at Qing Raoei as he said this. Just as Qing Raoei was about to say something, she saw Xia Mengqian walking towards them. Miss Xia, she greeted her. But Xia Mengqian's gaze remained fixed on Si Yingsong. She walked up to Si Yingsong. Yingsong, aren't you going to introduce me? Si Yingsong took a step across to stand side by side with Qing Raoei, smiling slightly. This is my wife, Qing Raoei. Xia Mengqian's face was stiff as she looked at Qing Raoei. Hello, I'm Xia Mengqian, Yingsong's ex-girlfriend. Yingsong must have mentioned me, right? Qing Raoei's heart skipped a beat. It seemed this woman meant trouble, so she kept her expression neutral. Hello, I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. I'd never heard him mention you. She had been the one to ask him before. That didn't count as him bringing it up, right? Xia Mengqian tilted her head and laughed. Seems I overestimated my importance. But when two people are together, isn't honesty key? Yingsong doesn't dare mention me. Could it be he still can't forget me? She glanced at Si Yingsong. I'm just joking, don't mind me. I certainly wouldn't have any improper thoughts about my future brother-in-law. A trace of a smile remained on Qing Raoei's face, but she was very unhappy inside. Si Yingsong was even more displeased. I do mind. Don't make such jokes about me in the future. What happened between us is long past. Forget it if you can. If not, keep it buried in your heart. Lest the Sha-Qing alliance marriage fails and your Sha family falls into a financial crisis. His face was cold. Anyway, I forgot long ago. His words were overly blunt, making Xia Mengqian tremble with anger. Her engagement to Qing Yunyao was indeed to save the Shi family business. She didn't know where Si Yingsong got his information. Seeing Xia Mengqian's pale face, Qing Ruowei instantly felt refreshed and clear-headed. Si Yingsong didn't want to engage with Xia Mengqian any further. He took Qing Ruowei's hand to play with the cats. "Wife, look, this cat looks like a panda." It was a small, pure white cat, but the fur around its eyes was black, making it look like it had panda eyes. "Little panda, you're so cute." Qing Ruowei couldn't help but squat down and scratch the kitten under its chin. Meow. The kitten tilted its head and rubbed against her hand. After a moment, the kitten seemed more interested in the bright orange color. It actually wobbled over to Xia Mengqian's feet, circling her ankles while softly meowing, meow. Xia Mengqian was irritated and frowned, taking 2 steps back. Unexpectedly, the cat didn't understand and pressed closer. A client called Si Yingsong. He showed the screen to Qing Ruowei. "I need to take this call." He walked towards the entrance to answer the phone. Qing Ruowei didn't want to face Xia Mengqian awkwardly, so she turned to play with other kittens. Xia Mengqian watched Qing Ruowei playing with the cats, her anger surging. She picked up the pandy-eyed kitten at her feet, took a few steps closer, and threw it towards Qing Ruowei's fair neck. The cat, suddenly thrown, was terrified and extended its claws, scratching wildly. "Meow! Meow!" Qing Ruowei was startled by the sudden feline projectile, but reflexively caught the tumbling cat. Ignoring the pain on her neck, Qing Ruowei held the little kitten close, comforting it properly. The kitten, frightened, trembled all over, letting out soft, low cries. "Meow, meow, double quotes." Si Yingsong rushed in upon hearing the noise. "What happened?" he asked with concern, then saw the 2 bloody scratches on her neck. "You've been scratched." The cafe manager ran over at that moment. "What's going on?" Xia Mengqian revealed a cold smile, then turned and left. Qing Ruowei watched her retreating back, pressing her lips together tightly. Si Yingsong's voice was cold. "Do the cats here injure people?" "My apologies, Mr. Si." The manager was flustered seeing the scratches on Qing Ruowei's neck. "Our cats are usually very docile. I don't know why this happened today. Please let me take this cat for disposal. We will ensure you are satisfied." "How do you plan to dispose of it?" Qing Ruowei held the kitten with one hand, stroking the top of its head with the other. The little thing seemed to enjoy it, let out a soft mew, and closed its eyes, falling asleep in her arms. "We would arrange for it to be euthanized. Would that be acceptable?" The manager bowed slightly. Qing Ruowei hadn't expected this innocent little creature to be treated so cruelly. Although she had been playing with other cats earlier, her peripheral vision hadn't left Xia Mengqian for a moment. She had naturally seen the moment Xia Mengqian threw the cat. "I'm buying this cat," Qing Ruowei said, looking at Si Yingsong. "It didn't pounce. Someone deliberately threw it." Si Yingsong's bright eyes darkened. He then took out a card and handed it to the cafe manager. "How much?" "Charge it." The manager respectfully accepted the card with both hands. "Yes, Mr. Si. However, I don't have time to raise it. Can it stay here with you? I'll pay for its food monthly. Is that okay?" Qing Ruowei asked. The manager bowed and scraped. "Of course, that's possible." After settling the kitten's matter, Qing Ruowei still refused to go to the hospital, insisting on handling one more thing first. Si Yingsong had no choice but to accompany her. Standing foolishly in the hotel's back garden. The back garden was the only way for hotel guests going to the parking lot. Qing Ruowei waited patiently, just to see that figure in orange appear. Having been pampered by Si Yingsong these past days, her temperament had softened considerably. She had almost forgotten that she could also be a petty, vindictive person who held grudges over the smallest things. Xia Mengqian finally arrived, chatting and laughing with Qing Yunyao. "Go distract my brother," Qing Ruowei whispered. Si Yingsong immediately nodded in understanding. The lights in the back garden were rather dim and yellowish, creating a hazy feeling. Si Yingsong went up to strike up a conversation with Qing Yunyao. Meanwhile, Qing Ruowei stood straight and stuck a foot out, tripping Xia Mengqian. Xia Mengqian, caught completely off guard, stumbled and fell face first with a thud. "Ha ha ha." Qing Ruowei couldn't help laughing. "Miss Xiao, you should be more careful when walking." Seeing Song stifled his laughter. Wei Wei, let me take you for your shot. He then grabbed Qing Rao's hand and they ran. They ran out of the hotel towards the car park not far away. As they ran, Seeing Song looked at Qing Rao, who was grinning brightly. Why are you looking at me? You're beautiful. My wife is the most beautiful in the world. Seeing Song laughed heartily, once again finding Qing Rao utterly adorable. He also realized that his initial interest in Qing Rao, thinking she shared some traits with Xia Mengqian, was completely because he had been deceived by his own fabricated memories. Xia Mengqian had never been as wonderful as he remembered. In contrast, Qing Rao was real upright, dared to love and hate, dared to act and take responsibility, generally sought revenge on the spot, and disdained underhanded tricks. My husband is also the handsomest in the world. Qing Rao laughed too. That trip just now felt really satisfying. She and Seeing Song looked at each other, suddenly feeling that life was moving in the best possible direction. Xia Mengqian's fall was embarrassed and awkward, but the soil in the garden was soft, so she wasn't injured. Jing Yunyao left the follow-up matters at the hotel to his parents and took Xia Mengqian home himself. In the car, Xia Mengqian buried her hands in her hair, holding her head. She couldn't understand what magic Qing Rao possessed to make Seeing Song, who seemed like a changed man, pamper her so much, holding her in the palm of his hand. Qing Yunyao focused on driving and casually asked, "Are you hurt anywhere?" His engagement to Xia Mengqian was merely a strategic move in the cooperation with the Xia family. He knew early on that the Xia family's cooperation with the Qings was only to use the Qing family's reputation to boost the Xia family's already declining business. Originally, Qing Yunyao had no interest in getting involved in this mess, but Xia Mengqian was ruthless, willing to stake her own reputation to gamble for the Xia family, which he somewhat admired. Furthermore, a centipede dies but never falls down. The Xia family business had been operating for decades. It couldn't collapse easily. They had plenty of wealthy aristocratic clients. Qing Yunyao's goal was to bring those clients under his own company's wing. So this time, even though Xia Mengqian's disheveled appearance, with mud covering half her face, was quite amusing to Qing Yunyao, he held back and asked with apparent concern. Xia Mengqian was still furious. Pursing her lips, she sneered, "Your sister is quite a character. When I looked into her before, I thought she was a nobody. I never expected. Truly it's the quiet dogs that bite the hardest." This made Qing Yunyao laugh. In his impression, Qing Rao had always been very quiet since childhood, that she was never someone who submitted meekly to oppression. Her existence as his sister in the Qing family was merely their parents' preparation for future family business alliances. A tool for a rainy day. She's just an illegitimate child. Why bother getting angry with her? Illegitimate child. Xia Mengqian was shocked, then secretly smirked. Interesting. Huh. Which wealthy family doesn't have its share of romantic scandals? No need to make a fuss. Qing Yunyao touched his lips, revealing a playful expression. The Xi family probably doesn't know, right? Obviously. If they knew, would the marriage alliance still happen? Even though everyone knows about these illegitimate children. Things, if it really comes out, it's not something that can be put on the table respectively. Xia Mengqian stared at the road ahead, a slow, malicious smile spreading across her lips. Qing Rao had made her lose face so badly today. She certainly wouldn't let her off easily. "Don't you go leaking this," Qing Yunyao feigned panic. "If the media gets wind and reports it extensively, our family's reputation will be ruined, and it will implicate the Xia family too." "Understood," Xia Mengqian perfunctorily replied, thinking, even if the media doesn't find out, just telling Seeing Song should have an effect, right? Furthermore, even if it blows up and everyone in Yuncheng knows, it's your Qing family's scandal. What does it have to do with us, the Xias? When the time comes, we can find a pretext to call off the engagement. The Xia family will remain innocent, and will be the victims everyone sympathizes with. Xia Mengqian was making her own calculations, unaware that Qing Yunyao was eager for her to publicize this matter far and wide. Qing Rao's birth mother had been sent away long ago. Over all these years, no one had found any trace of evidence. It was written black on white in the household register. Jing Raoei was his full sister, sharing both parents. Xia Mingqian could go and leak the story, but she had no evidence. Without evidence, it's slander. When the time came, it would be the Xia family turning hostile, destroy the marriage alliance. The clients originally under the Xia family would then be even easier to recruit. Each harboring their own schemes, the two rode in silence the rest of the way. Arriving at the Xia residence, they saw Xia Mingqian's grandfather sitting on the sofa, reading a newspaper as soon as they entered. Zixi, how did you get so dirty? The grandfather, wearing reading glasses, looked her up and down, then noticed Qing Yunyao beside her. The eldest young master of the Jing family is here too. His tone, however, was somewhat indifferent. Yes, grandfather. Since Mengqian is home, I'll take my leave now. The grandfather nodded, but his eyes returned to the newspaper. All right. Drive safely. Qing Yunyao turned away, his face darkening. The Xia family business was built from scratch by the old man. Starting with nothing, he rose through the ranks, almost never encountering significant developmental bottlenecks. This made the old man arrogant, believing himself peerless and looking down on everyone. This marriage alliance with the Qing family, although not necessarily destined to be realized, was still viewed with disdain by the old man. He always felt that families like the Qings, who rapidly developed with the Xi family's support, weren't fit to be mentioned in the same breath as the Shahs. With such a sense of superiority, he naturally paid little attention to Qing Yunyao, not even attending his birthday banquet today. Qing Yunyao stepped outside, took a deep breath, lit a cigarette, and stood by the wall for a while. Just as he was about to leave, he heard the old man say, if it were for the Shire family needing this alliance with them right now to stabilize those clients, I wouldn't even bother looking at someone like him. Xia Mengqian soothed him. Oh, grandfather, since we still need to rely on the Qings for now, even if you're uncomfortable inside, you have to pretend on the surface. HMPH. Do you think this Qing kid is any good? Isn't it all for the major clients we hold? You're just too young and naive. You have a lot to learn in the future. Qing Yunyao clenched his fist outside the door. One day he thought, I'll make the old man pay for today's words. The inspection period was nearing its end, and Jiang Huai would be leaving Yunsheng soon. Everyone at the publishing house was organizing the main documents from their respective departments. Copies would need to be given to Jiang Huai to take back to headquarters. The chief editor's promotion was a foregone conclusion. These days, she was busy writing her personal resume, so the task of compiling the publishing house's overall data fell to Qing Raoei. After all, at the end of the chief editor's resume, in the section recommending candidates for the next chief editor, the chief editor had written her name. Quitting time had passed, but Qing Raoei still had some files from the same year she wanted to organize together. So, ignoring the time, she buried her head in the documents. Jiang Huai brought over a cup of warm milk. You don't have to work so hard. I can leave a few days later. Qing Raoei didn't look up. That wouldn't be right. Jiang Huai really wanted to say, it's fine. If it weren't for headquarters urging, he would have liked to stay longer. Even though seeing her and seeing Song together constantly during this time, so deeply in love, felt like being flayed alive, deep down. He felt that being able to see her every day was still good. He used to be a proud and conceited person. Over the years after losing her, life had gradually worn down his edges. Only she seemed unchanged, still resolute, decisive, guarding her peaceful life. Jiang Huai placed the milk on her desk. Go home early. Don't make him worry. As soon as the words left his mouth, Xi Song called. Qing Raoei immediately smiled and answered, I'll be back soon. I know. You've worked hard. House husband. Soon. Half an hour at most. Double quotes. Jiang Huai stood to the side watching her. Her smile was so bright, just like when she used to love him. He turned and left, not wanting to hear any more of their intimate conversation. After hanging up, Qing Raoei looked at the milk on the desk, feeling a momentary daze. She picked up the milk. Warmth spread from her fingers into her palm. Then, she threw the milk into the trash can. It wasn't cruelty, nor disdain. It was just that for something no longer possible, holding on to it would only cause unnecessary trouble. Nor was she inherently cold and unfeeling. It was the result of so many years living a somewhat dependent life in the Qing family, which had fostered a unique temperament for self-protection. She wasn't incapable of leaving the Qing family. There was just no need. She wouldn't cater to the Mingfeng, but she wouldn't openly defy her either. She understood deeply that throwing a punch at cotton baffles the puncher, and by being the cotton, she wouldn't get hurt. That this wasn't cowardice. Even as cotton, if pushed past her limits, she could hide needles within the softness. She stacked the documents on her desk neatly, picked up her bag and left. As she stepped out, she saw Si Yingsong, his bright eyes gazing at her tenderly. "What are you doing here?" Qing Raowei was pleasantly surprised, spreading her arms and running towards him. Si Yingsong shrugged. "Who told you to get off work so late today? I missed you, so I came." He wrapped his arms around her. Her heart felt sweet, as if she had eaten a large jar of honey. Rare over time. "Let's go get some supper." When they reached the lobby downstairs, a cleaning aunt was still mopping the floor. Qing Raowei, looking at the aunt's profile as she bowed her head, was reminded of her own birth mother. Her memory of her birth mother was already very blurry, but this aunt bore a resemblance in demeanor to the mother she remembered. Her heart tightened, and she reached out to clutch the corner of Siu's clothes. "What's wrong?" Si Yingsong noticed her strangeness. Qing Raowei shook her head. "It's nothing. I just think this aunt's profile looks a lot like my mother." Si Yingsong looked over. "I don't see how she looks like Auntie Thee." "Not the Mingfeng. My birth mother." Si Yingsong was shocked. "What? What birth mother?" Feeling a bit sad, Qing Raowei tilted her head to rest it on Si Yingsong's arm. I'm not the Mingfeng's biological child. I'm my father's illegitimate daughter." Only then did Si Yingsong understand why the Mingfeng had hit Qing Raowei so hard over the rumor with Zheng Huai before. Why, every time he went to the Qing house, he felt no warmth, only polite between the family members. Although he had done a simple investigation on Qing Raowei when they first met, it was only regarding her habits and routines. Having been pampered and held in high esteem by everyone since childhood, he couldn't truly empathize with what she had endured. He could only pat her shoulder comfortingly. "It doesn't matter. You are Si Yingsong's wife. I will make you happy." He paused, then continued. "I once read a line in a book. The person said he loved all things in the world, without a favorite, without an exception. But I want to tell you, Qing Raowei, you are my favorite, the exception in my life, my eternal preference. You are all things in the world, and all things in the world are you." Si Yingsong rarely spoke such affected words seriously. But facing Qing Raowei, he always wanted to search his mind for the most beautiful love words. He used to be arrogant and conceit. After falling in love with Qing Raowei, he realized that loving someone makes one unconsciously feel humble. She was resilient, kind, principled, neither fawning nor ingratiating, pure like a newly sprouted lotus. Compared to the other women who had appeared in his life, she was truly a shining exception. "Yingsong, thank you." Tears welled in Qing Raowei's eyes. "My mother's name was Su Yao. She left me when I was only 6. I can't remember her specific appearance clearly anymore. I don't even have a single photo of her. I miss her so much." Qing Raowei's body trembled slightly with quiet sobs. Si Yingsong held her close, comforting her. "If you want to cry, cry in my arms." In this moment, Si Yingsong was so gentle. His captivating voice was like a sedative injected into Qing Raowei's heart. She let down all her defenses, wrapped her arms around his neck, and cried out loud. Years of endurance and concession had made her always hide in her own cocoon to avoid storms. But now, finally, there was someone who could understand all her sorrows and difficulties. Someone she could rely on, steadfastly giving her back the courage she had in her student days. The courage to ask only if it is possible, not worry about the future. "Thank you. Yingsong, I love you. I love you too." The next day, Qing Raowei woke up late. In her rush to get to the company, she realized she had forgotten her phone and had to turn back to get it. Meanwhile, Qiao Yoren, unable to reach Qing Raowei by phone, hurried to her company and immediately spotted Zheng Huai. "Zheng Huai," she gasped, out of breath. "Do you know where Raowei is?" Zheng Huai scanned the office and shrugged. "No, I'm looking for her too." Headquarters had sent a message asking him to collect the assessment materials and return as soon as possible, as many matters awaited his attention there. Come with me for a moment. I need to talk to you. The situation was urgent. She didn't have time to find Qing Raowei. Having been Qing Raowei's close friend for years and witnessing their relationship from start to finish, she knew Jiang Huai's character well. She had no choice but to ask him for help. Jiang Huai followed her to the corridor outside. What's wrong? The company is doing an inventory count for a cafe this month. At noon, I went to a partnered coffee shop to take photos of the interior and ran into Raowei's future sister-in-law, Xia Mengqian. And then? Jiang Huai frowned. You probably don't know yet, but this Xia Mengqian is Si Young-sung's ex-girlfriend. She and Raowei got off on the wrong foot during their first meeting. I know all that, Jiang Huai said seriously. Get to the point. Whether in the past or present, Qing Raowei had always held significant importance in his heart, even though she was married now. And while he respected her choice and hoped for her happiness, if there was even the slightest chance, he still wished he could be the one to give her that happiness. So, he always made sure to understand her circumstances promptly. I overheard Xia Mengqian on the phone telling someone that Raowei is an illegitimate child. She said she has found information about Raowei's birth mother and is going to the Yunxing Entertainment News to leak the story, to ruin Raowei's reputation. Jiang Huai's brow furrowed deeply. I know what to do. He turned, entered the elevator, and pressed the button for the underground garage. Qiao Yuan had never heard about Qing Raowei being an illegitimate child. But Xia Mengqian spoke with such conviction that she panicked. Even if it wasn't true, if Xia Mengqian leaked some messy information, it would still affect Qing Raowei, now known as Mrs. Si Ying-song. After the incident helping the little girl retrieve her bag, finding taxis inconvenient, Jiang Huai had rented a car. Now, he drove recklessly running red lights, changing lanes rapidly, contributing several traffic tickets to the traffic police department with his skilled but unlawful driving. But his mind was solely focused on stopping Xia Mengqian. He couldn't care less about that. Whether the leak was true or not was secondary. The Xia family, as prominent status in Yuncheng, meant Xia Mengqian personally leaking the story was the real highlight. The damage to Qing Raowei's reputation, and even the Qing family's, both in terms of reputation and finances, was obvious. He finally arrived at the newspaper's entrance and saw Xia Mengqian getting out of the driver's side of a red car parked ahead. After he was about 2 meters away from his car, Jiang Huai stepped on the accelerator and crashed into her car. Bang! A loud noise drew the attention of passers-by. Xia Mengqian turned and saw her beloved car crushed beyond recognition. Furious, she stormed towards Jiang Huai. Jiang Huai gave a light laugh, opened his door, and got out. Do you even know how to drive? You hit my parked car. Are you mentally ill? If you're sick, take your medicine. Why come out and harm others? Xia Mengqian was so angry she started spewing profanities. Miss Xia, why so impatient? Jiang Huai said calmly. Hearing this, Xia Mengqian scrutinized Jiang Huai suspiciously. The man before her was a full head taller, with clear skin, bright eyes, a straight nose, and ruddy lips. The black overcoat he wore seemed tailor-made for him. I recognize you, she said. You're Jiang Huai, Qing Raowei's ex-boyfriend. To deal with someone, one naturally needed to know their details. When she investigated Qing Raowei, she had also gathered plenty of information on him. Moreover, seeing Song holding a press conference with him to clarify the hotel incident for Qing Raowei was a major event that had caused a stir in Yuncheng. Pleased to meet you. Jiang Huai smiled with grace. Miss Xia, could you let me see the documents in your hand? Xia Mengqian glanced at the file folder in her hand. So that's why Mr. Jiang suddenly went crazy and hit my car. You will be her sister-in-law in the future. We're all family. What good does something that harms the Qing family do for you? Jiang Huai tried reasoning with her. Haha, who told you I want to be her sister-in-law? The Qings are the Qings. The Xias are the Xias. If the Qings fall, I won't be affected in the slightest. Xia Mengqian smiled disdainfully. Besides, I'm Si Ying-song's ex. You're Qing Raowei's ex. We should be good comrades in arms. I won't make an enemy of someone I've loved. If you still have any feelings for Si Ying-song in your heart, You shouldn't hurt the person he loves. Jiang Hui appealed to her emotions. I'm not as hypocritical as you, nor as noble. If I like someone, I'll try every way to get them back. Xia Mengqian turned to leave. Whether Si Ying-song cares about Qing Raowei being an illegitimate child or not, I don't know. But the Si family will certainly care, and the general public of Yuncheng will definitely be happy to know. Jiang Hui stepped forward and grabbed her wrist. What will it take for you to let Qing Raowei go? Xia Mengqian looked at him. I want her to leave Si Ying-song. Do you think she'd do that? She won't leave Si Ying-song for no reason. That's exactly why I need to do something to make her recognize her place. Xia Mengqian shook off Jiang Hui's grip. You're a smart man. You shouldn't stop me. If the two of them split up, wouldn't that suit your purposes too? You definitely aren't a match for the Mingfeng's biological daughter, but if it's just an illegitimate child, you could righteously take her away with you. Jiang Hui felt as if a heavy hammer had struck his heart. He didn't want to admit that on his way here. He had indeed, shamefully, wondered if Qing Raowei's status as an illegitimate child were true. Would it increase his chances of pulling her to his side? Think it over carefully yourself. You don't need to pay for the car damage. Goodbye. Seeing the pained expression on Jiang Hui's face, Xia Mengqian's mood instantly improved. She turned and entered the Yuncheng Entertainment News building, humming a tune. She had seen many men like Jiang Hui. They didn't cherish what they had when they had it, and now they put on a show of deep affection. They say they don't want to hurt the one they love, that they wish her happiness. But in their hearts, they desperately want that person to separate from their current partner and return to their own embrace. Hypocritical, weak, tormented by the conflict between their emotions and morality, eternal losers. She was different. Even though she was the one who let go initially, she never wanted to wish Si Ying-song happiness. Whether he was happy or not, she didn't care. She just felt that if she wanted someone, she should fight hard to get them, even if it meant using any means necessary. She considered herself more honest and straightforward than Jiang Hui. With Si Ying-song's connections, finding information on a person was effortless. While there were quite a few people named Su Yao in Yuncheng, filtering by age, work experience, and previous registered residents left only one match. The information was found, but the person had passed away 3 years ago due to illness. Si Ying-song frowned deeply, unsure whether he should tell Qing Raowei. So he called her. Wei Wei, I found all the information about your birth mother. But ... Qing Raowei was momentarily stunned. But what? I hope you're prepared. Whether you want to know more is your decision. Over a decade ago, she was forced to separate from her mother. In the years that followed, she had wondered countless times. Where is Mom? When will she come to take me away? I don't want fine clothes or a life of luxury. I just want to stay by my mother's side. Bring the documents to me. No matter what it is, I can handle it. Even though she had a very bad premonition, she still wanted to clearly understand her mother's past and her current situation. They arranged to meet at the coffee shop downstairs. On a workday, the cafe was very quiet. After choosing a secluded spot, Si Ying-song handed the documents to Qing Raowei. She eagerly took them and started reading. All the details matched her mother. Her work history was extensive, changing jobs frequently. Finally, her eyes fell on the current status section. Passed away 3 years ago due to illness. Qing Raowei could no longer hold back. Tears fell plop onto the paper. It felt like a massive boulder had been thrown into the calm lake of her heart, sending ripples of sadness spreading outwards, gradually drowning her. All these years, she moved through so many jobs, just struggling to survive. How could she have had the chance to come find me? 13 years ago, she was a goods delivery person for the convenience store at your middle school. 10 years ago, she was a waitress at the noodle shop opposite the gate of your Yunqing No 1 high school. 7 years ago, she was a cafeteria worker at Chengying University. 3 years ago, ... Stop ... Ying-song. Qing Raowei's voice trembled. So her mother had been silently watching over her all along. 3 years ago, if she hadn't fallen ill, she would undoubtedly have appeared near her again. Perhaps as a cleaning lady, or a staff member in the company cafeteria. But now, Mom would never appear again. She had become synonymous with forever, and Qing Raowei had never gotten to see her one last time. Qing Raoei cried like a child, covering her face, trying hard not to make a sound. Her body shook violently, overwhelmed by the wave of grief crashing down on her. Si Yingsong frowned, stood up and held her tightly, his heart aching. He silently vowed to always be good to her from now on, regardless of gains and losses, regardless of consequences. His phone rang. It was Ren Yu from the Yuncheng Daily. Si Yingsong answered. The other party informed him that Xia Mengqian had come with an investigative file to leak the story. Ren Yu, having developed a slight acquaintance with Si Yingsong after the previous incident, politely declined Xia Mengqian's request. Furious, she turned and went to a small newspaper office next door. That small newspaper was skilled in weighing its words, specializing in unorthodox methods to dig up secrets. As they weren't a regular newspaper to begin with, they dared to publish anything. Si Yingsong's brow furrowed deeper. Okay, thank you, he said somberly. He patted Qing Raoei's back. Wife, I have some urgent matters to handle now. Take the day off today. Let me take you home to rest. Qing Raoei had already stopped crying. She wiped her tears and looked up. No need. I'm fine now. There's a lot of work at the company today. I can't take leave. Are you sure you're okay? I am. Although losing her mother was truly painful, like the sky had fallen. Before, there was always a thread of hope in her heart. Now, that hope was completely severed. But life had to go on, didn't it? Mom certainly wouldn't want her to live trapped in the pain of losing her. As long as she remembered her, thought of her, she would still be alive. Si Yingsong went to the small newspaper Ren Yu mentioned. Communication was futile. At this critical moment, they were sticking to the bottom line, unmoved by money. Firstly, Xia Mengqian had undoubtedly paid them, and likely used other tactics. Secondly, the small newspaper wanted to ride the wave of this explosive news to rapidly grow its popularity. Si Yingsong was somewhat angered. Leaving the newspaper office, he called Qing Yunyao. Elder brother, once this news breaks, the Qing family will suffer significant losses. Have you secured all of the Xia family's clients? Qing Yunyao snorted coldly. It's done. Since Xia Mengqian is being dishonorable, don't blame me for being unjust. I'll hold a press conference immediately, strike first, and break off the engagement with the Xia family. It's not enough. Si Yingsong's face darkened. Do you know the Li family in the west of the city? They've always been competitors of the Xia. The other day, when they approached me about software development, I mentioned a marriage alliance. There shouldn't be a problem. A smirk touched Qing Yunyao's lips. Acceptable. Give me Mr. Li's contact information. Qing Yunyao held the press conference on a grand scale. The sequence of events, from breaking off the engagement to announcing the alliance with the Li family, flowed seamlessly. The Qing-Li alliance instantly became the hottest news in Yuncheng. People said the entertainment industry had an endless supply of gossip. But it seemed the business world was just as prolific. Against the backdrop of this escalating alliance news, the revelation about Qing Raoei being an illegitimate child, her birth mother being a bartender in her youth, completely lost its appeal. After all, beyond her status as Si Yingsong's wife and a member of the Qing family, there wasn't much else about Qing Raoei worth digging into. Moreover, the Yuncheng Daily had previously apologized for false news about Qing Raoei. This time, the source was an obscure little newspaper, so its credibility was naturally low, and most netizens found it uninteresting. Jiang Hui packed his luggage, ready to return to headquarters. When he saw the news, his heart skipped a beat. He immediately called Qing Raoei. Do you need something? She asked, hearing her tone, devoid of the sadness and grief he had expected. He felt slightly relieved. Raoei, I'm returning to headquarters today. Ah, the documents are in the first drawer of my desk. I have something to attend to and can't come back right now. Qing Raoei struggled to steady her emotions, but tears kept streaming down. Before leaving, Si Yingsong had ordered a small chocolate dessert for her, saying sweets might make her feel better. Qing Raoei ate it bite by bite, but still felt her heart was filled to the brim with sorrow, overflowing into her limbs. Having no mother felt like her life had lost its origin, and she didn't know what the destination was anymore. The chief editor has already sorted and given them to me. Jiang Hui thought she probably hadn't seen the news yet, hence her lack of excessive sadness. He wanted to tell her but felt guilty. When he went to stop Xiao he had had the chance to prevent this gossip from being published, or at least not so soon. He'd even crashed his car. Snatching the file and tearing it to shreds wouldn't have been difficult. But he had wavered. Xiao words had hit home, striking directly at his heart. Okay, have a safe trip. Can we ... Really never go back? Jiang Hui regretted the question as soon as he asked it. Sure enough, there was silence on the other end for a few seconds before she replied. Don't ever say things like that again. I'm married to Xiying Song now. I'm very happy, and I love him deeply. Jiang Hui, the past will always be the past. You should learn to let go. Okay. His nose tingled with sadness, and he tilted his head back to prevent tears from falling. I wish you happiness, and I wish you a future as bright as brocade. Jiang Hui finally shed tears, but it wasn't like the bone-deep pain he felt when he first gave her up. Some mistakes are irreparable. Since it was a mistake, he had to bear the consequences. The weather was beautiful today, sunny and clear. There are no clouds in the sky. Jiang Hui picked up his luggage and walked towards the boarding gate, remembering a line by the poet Hazy. A cloudless sky, like my eternal sadness. Of course, Qing Ruowei had seen the news. With a gossip enthusiast like Qiao Yuan around, it was hard to miss. She also knew Qiao Yuan had informed Jiang Hui about it first thing in the morning, yet the story still got leaked. She was certain Jiang Hui had tried his best to stop it, but for whatever reason, he hadn't succeeded. She couldn't be bothered to dwell on the details anymore. Her background was an established fact, and now her mother was no longer alive. The gaze and words of others felt as light as mist to her. Xiying Song located the cemetery of Qing Ruowei's mother, so they bought bouquets and went to pay their respects. The cemetery was 20 kilometers from the city center. They didn't speak the entire way. Qing Ruowei remembered the year she was 7, when she met Qin Yongsheng in a supermarket. He asked her, Is your surname Qing? She answered, My surname is Su. Then her mother, Su Yao, ran over in a panic and pulled her away. Later, she was taken to the Qing family and became a part of it, while her mother silently disappeared. Everyone said Su Yao abandoned Qing Ruowei for money, but deep down, she never believed it. As she grew older, she understood even more that the Qing family's influence in Yuncheng at that time was not to be underestimated. Snatching a child from Su Yao would have been easy. Her mother probably also understood that she, who couldn't afford an apartment in a good school district, could only send her daughter to the worst schools, while Qing Yongshang could give Qing Ruowei the best upbringing. So, her mother accepted the conditions set by Qing Yongshang and his wife. Take the money and disappear forever from Qing Ruowei's life. Qing Ruowei tightly clutched the flowers in her hand, her heart aching. It was all that scumbag father Qing Yongshang's fault. If he hadn't hidden the fact that he was already married with children and pursued her mother, how could her mother have had such a miserable life? Back then, Su Yao was still a young girl, inexperienced in the world, when she met the handsome and wealthy Qing Yongsheng. He confessed his feelings to her, gave her flowers and gifts, and took her for candlelit dinners. Su Yao naively thought she had found true love, and gave her whole heart to Qing Yongsheng. Later, when she became pregnant, Qing Yongsheng promised to marry her after she gave birth. On the day she delivered, the Mingfeng came to her hospital room and caused a huge scene. Only then did she learn that Qing Yongsheng was already married with children. Heartbroken, Su Yao had a friend take her out of the hospital the very night she gave birth, and cut off all contact with Qing Yongsheng. After recovering her health, she went to another city. If Qing Yongsheng hadn't later run into them on a business trip, Qing Ruowei's life should have been ordinary and stable. Su Yao's black and white photo was fixed to the cold tombstone. Qing Ruowei knelt before the grave, weeping uncontrollably. If only she had started looking for her mother earlier. If only she could have worked harder to become outstanding. If only her mother hadn't gotten sick. But life doesn't deal in if-onlys. Qing Ruowei turned her head to look at Xiying Song. He was a head taller than her, just blocking the sunlight shining directly into her eyes. The bright light seemed to cast a golden glow on his face, soft and beautiful. Yingsong, she called to him. You're all I have now. Yingsong lowered his head and pulled her into his embrace. Don't worry. As long as I'm here, you have a home. Yingsong never liked empty talk. The next day, he took Qingraowei back to his home, the one with his parents. Qingraowei was a bit nervous. Since getting married, the number of times she had seen her in-laws could be counted on one hand. Her mother-in-law warmly took her hand. Raowei, you must visit more often from now on. We've kept a room for you two on the second floor, and I have it cleaned every day. As she spoke, she led her upstairs. Qingraowei observed the expression on her mother-in-law's face. It was genuine, heartfelt joy. A weight lifted from her heart. The room was large, with floor-to-ceiling windows making it bright and airy. Outside the window was a large parasol tree, already in its leaf-shedding season. Its yellow-orange leaves looking therapeutic. Look, these are all new bedsheets and duvet covers. You can change to whichever set you like. And if you don't like any, I'll have Yingsong take you to buy new ones later. Her mother-in-law opened the wardrobe herself, showing Qingraowei the bedding sets she had bought. They're all very nice, I like them all. Qingraowei smiled in agreement. What are you two doing? Yingsong came upstairs too. It's time to eat. Time to eat? Her mother-in-law closed the wardrobe door. Then I'll go to the wine cellar to get a few good bottles. You go ahead and take your seats. She hurried out the door. Yingsong, your mother is so kind. Having been shadowed by the Ming Feng, Qingraowei hadn't had a good impression of the matriarchs of wealthy families. But now, seeing her own mother-in-law so amiable, her heart warmed considerably. Because you deserve it. Yingsong smiled and reached out to ruffle the hair on Qingrao's head. Let's go down to eat. Qingraowei gazed wistfully at the parasol tree outside the window. Compared to Mom, I'm really lucky. Yingsong followed her gaze. Do you like parasol trees? Yes. All right, one day I'll plant parasol trees all over the streets of Yuncheng, he said with a grin. Qingraowei finally couldn't hold back a laugh and shot him a sidelong glance. Stop joking. The story of one phrase about the parasol tree's beauty, planted all over Nanjing City, is probably just a folk legend. If you like it, I can make it real. I like you. Can you plant Yingsongs all over Yuncheng? Yingsong's expression turned subtle. Oh, one of me isn't enough. You want a whole city of Yingsongs. As he spoke, he went to tickle Qingraowei's sensitive spots. I was wrong. Qingraowei raised her hands in surrender. Mom called us to eat. Yingsong watched Qingraowei hop downstairs like a rabbit and breathed a sigh of relief. At least she could call his mother Mom. So naturally, thankfully. On her way downstairs, Qingraowei's eyes reddened. Let the sorrow stay in the past, she thought. The future is long, and Mom would definitely want me to live happily. That day, after getting off work and arriving home, Qingraowei suddenly missed Yingsong, so she gave him a call. What are you doing? Qingraowei unconsciously curved her lips into a smile. Yingsong was getting a headache from company data, but the moment he received Qingraowei's call, he instantly felt refreshed. Love, it's truly incredible. A dose of good medicine in this troubled mortal world. Thinking of you. Smooth talker. Whether it's smooth talk or not, you can test it yourself when I get back. Yingsong, can't you be serious? Qingraowei was amused. Heaven and earth bear witness, I'm being utterly serious. Yingsong leaned back. And you? What made you think to call me? Did you run into any trouble? Qingraowei felt a little embarrassed. I missed you. Well, I have to go now, bye. She hung up after saying that, leaving Yingsong stunned. Then he smiled, deeply feeling his little wife was utterly adorable. So, he turned off the computer, put on his jacket, went to the cake shop downstairs to buy her favorite tiramisu, and left work early to go home. Zhou Xing thought he was going somewhere for a business meeting, but instead, Yingsong's eyes drifted as he smiled and said, How can work compare to my wife? Zhou Xing gave a dry laugh, accepting this mouthful of dog food willingly. Gripping the steering wheel, he secretly wondered. What did this originally cold, detached boss, who was only interested in company profits and dating various women for business and rumors, go through to become such a love-struck wife devotee? Asterisk others are henpecked, but him. His self-management skills are extraordinary, eagerly striving to become his wife's super fanboy. How many times has he skipped work this month to buy his wife various desserts and milk tea? But he's the boss, so naturally he calls the shots. Skipping work or not, as long as he's happy. The Shia family's stocks plummeted, and several long-term major clients withdrew their investments one after another. For a time, the Shia enterprise faced a fund shortage and couldn't operate. Old Master Shia was so angry he fell ill. Xue Mengqian deeply regretted wasting time on conflicts with Qing Raowei. Even though Qing Raowei was an illegitimate daughter with no status in the Qing family, she still represented the Qing family's face. Making an enemy of her was like making an enemy of the entire Qing family, wasn't it? Qing Yaoyao was certainly no good person, but when he agreed to marry her, she should have been wary. Without benefit, why would he use the Qing family's connections to pave the way for the Xia family? Since her parents died in a car accident when she was young, Xia Mengqian had always been stubborn and difficult. No one taught her how to love. All her love was premised on loving herself. She thought of Si Yingsong, how proud a person he was. But when he was with her, although he was occasionally domineering, more often he was tolerant of her to the point of having no bottom line. If she wanted milk tea in the middle of the night, she would call him and have him buy it. If he couldn't find a 24-hour milk tea shop, he would make it himself. At 3 a.m. in winter, he waited for her downstairs holding homemade milk tea, just to make her happy. On holidays he would prepare gifts in advance, book restaurants, and give her romantic memories. Remembering all these past events, tears welled up in Xia Mengqian's eyes. In the end, she was the one who wronged him. He had been a warm harbor in her love-starved life, but her selfishness ultimately made her lose him. Now, that warmth belonged to someone else. She was jealous, regretful, but could never get it back. She called Si Yingsong, holding back her tears. "Yingsong, can you help me?" Her tone no longer had the arrogance of the past. It was calm, with a hint of humility. Si Yingsong had never seen this side of Xia Mengqian. He frowned. "How can I help? Lend me some money. Let me protect the little bit of industry Grandpa has left." He didn't agree immediately, instead saying, "I'll call you back later." Si Yingsong seriously discussed Xia Mengqian's plea for help with Qing Raowei. Qing Raowei was somewhat surprised. She never really understood the intrigues of the business circle. She hadn't expected that her elder brother's act of breaking off the engagement and marrying someone else would cause such a crisis for the Xia family's large enterprise. "So, what do you want to do?" Qing Raowei asked him. Although Xia Mengqian had done excessive things to her, she herself wasn't someone easy to bully. And in the end, she hadn't suffered any real loss. As for the illegitimate daughter matter, although Xia Mengqian's motive for exposing it was impure, it actually turned out to be a blessing in disguise for Qing Raowei. Since the Qing family's facade had already been torn open, she wasn't afraid of the Ming Feng turning on her later. Whether her mother was a mistress or not, what others said was their business. As long as she conducted herself with integrity, she had a clear conscience. "I will listen to you." "Oh?" Qing Raowei lifted Si Yingsong's chin with a mischievous smile. "If I disagree, you won't feel sorry for her. She is your first love, after all." Si Yingsong grabbed her hand, brought it to his lips and kissed it, saying cheesily, "I only feel sorry for my wife." Qing Raowei had to pull her hand back. You win, you win. When it comes to being cheesy, no one can beat you. Don't talk nonsense. If this gets out, how will I maintain authority in the company? I'm only cheesy for you." As he spoke, he picked Qing Raowei up and headed towards the stairs. "Hey." Qing Raowei lowered her voice and lightly punched his shoulder twice. "Stop messing around. I asked Auntie Jiang to cook today. She's in the kitchen." "I will mess around." He even lowered his head and kissed her neck. Qing Raowei giggled from the tickling. "Hurry up and go save your old flame in her time of need." "Say that again?" Si Yingsong curled his lips. "If you keep being sarcastic, I was wrong. I was wrong." Qing Raowei immediately begged for mercy. "Then, will you be jealous?" Qing Raowei blinked. "Why should I be jealous?" She understood perfectly well that Si Ying-song and she were the same type of person when it came to emotions. Once their hearts belonged to someone, they would never look at anyone else. Si Ying-song carried her back to the living room and dropped her onto the sofa, pretending to unbutton his shirt. "Are you jealous or not?" Jing Raowei rolled her eyes. "What's wrong with you? Why would I be jealous for no reason?" Si Ying-song pounced, pinning Jing Raowei beneath him so she couldn't move. "I don't care. Since you agreed to let me help her, you have to be jealous." Okay, I'm jealous. Jing Rao shouted towards the kitchen. "Auntie Zhang, add more vinegar to the sweet and sour pork ribs." Auntie Zhang replied, "That won't do. Too much vinegar is bad for your stomach." Jing Raowei raised her hand and poked Si Ying-song's cheek. "Hear that? Vinegar isn't a good thing. Whether vinegar is good or not, I don't know. But I am a good thing," he said, lowering his head and kissing her forehead. Si Ying-song lent Sha Mengqian a sum of money, helping her temporarily overcome the crisis. Suddenly, she seemed to have a change of heart, gaining great enlightenment. Before, Grandpa supported everything. She wasn't afraid even if the sky fell. Now she realized that Grandpa could also fall ill one day. Without parents to rely on, she could only depend on herself. She took out her phone and called Jing Raowei. She knew that if Jing Raowei hadn't agreed, Si Ying-song wouldn't have helped so readily. "It's Sha Mengqian." "Thank you, Jing Raowei." You're welcome." Jing Raowei didn't expect Sha Mengqian to thank her so directly. "In the past. I'm sorry. Actually, I was at fault too." Just like that, their grievances were cleared. Who would have thought that if they calmed down, neither held a deep-seated grudge demanding the other's downfall? "I wish you and Ying-song happiness," Xia Mengqian said from the bottom of her heart. "You too, you will also be happy." "I hope so." After hanging up, Xia Mengqian looked at the azure sky and thought, "One day, the person who will stay with me until old age will appear, right? And next time, she would never again let go of someone who truly cared for her." The Mingfeng found out from somewhere that Jing Raowei had visited Su Yao's grave. Furious, she went to the south suburb villa that very night. The moment Jing Raowei opened the door, the Mingfeng slapped her without a word. The next second, Jing Raowei, enraged, raised her hand and slapped back twice. "Slap! Slap! You dare hit me?" The Mingfeng glared angrily at Jing Raowei. "Why wouldn't I dare? You hit me before, and I didn't fight back out of gratitude for raising me. But that doesn't mean I have no temper. Some things can be tolerated once, but not repeatedly. You're old enough. How can you lack such common sense?" The Mingfeng always acted without distinguishing right from wrong, so Jing Raowei couldn't be bothered to ask the reason. She just retaliated. Fine. The Mingfeng's face was red with anger. "You look more and more like that slut Su Yao. Truly the seed from her womb. You ungrateful wretch. All these years the Jing family spent raising and educating you couldn't tame you." Looking at the Mingfeng's features twisted with anger, Jing Raowei laughed in fury. "You educated me? Besides making sure I was fed and clothed to put on a show for my dad, what education did you give me? What right do you have to mention my mother's name? Keep your husband in check, so fewer women become mistresses. It was Su Yao who seduced your father." "Who seduced whom?" Jing Raowei clenched her fists. "Go ask your dear husband Qing Yongxing. Stop embarrassing yourself here." "You." The Mingfeng's eyes were red, seething with rage. Fine. It seems getting married has really made your wings strong. From now on, don't even think about entering the Qing family's door. Even if you invited me, I wouldn't enter." The Mingfeng, fuming, stormed out. The next day, reports of Jing Raowei slapping the Mingfeng dominated the internet. Comments were divided into 3 categories. One part was awake waiting for a reversal. One part enjoyed the drama and demanded more revelations. And another part were clearly one-sided paid commentators, constantly attacking Jing Raowei for being unfilial. This, coupled with the previous news about Jing Raowei being an illegitimate child, led to terms like repaying kindness with enmity and ungrateful wretch being thrown at Jing Raowei. Within half a day, people even intercepted Jing Raowei with eggs in the underground parking lot as she returned home from work. Fortunately, she was quick, got into her car, immediately locked the doors and stepped on the gas. But the rear of the car was still splattered with egg liquid. When Si Ying-sung found out, he immediately went to the Ching family. It didn't take a genius to figure out the Mingfeng was behind this. How coincidental that someone just happened to be near their home, photographing Ching Raoe fighting back, and even managed to distort the truth, making it seem like Ching Raoe was the sole aggressor. Ching Yongshang smoked, nonchalant. I've already spoken to Ming Feng about this. Raoe's reputation being ruined isn't good for our Ching family either. However, Raoe was indeed in the wrong this time. If she had any regard for the Ching family, she shouldn't have gone to pay respects to Su Yao and let those third-rate tabloids take photos. I've suppressed this matter for over a decade, and now my reputation is also damaged. At this point, he turned to look at Si Ying-song. It's fine if future Ching family matters don't involve Raoe, but you, son-in-law, should at least show some gesture. Si Ying-song smiled. How much do you want? The shares of one of your subsidiary companies. Not too much, right? Indeed, it wasn't much. He had over a dozen subsidiaries just for maintaining the various software he developed. Not much. I'll have someone draft the contract and bring it to you tomorrow. Straightforward. But, do you know which one I want? Ching Yongxiang narrowed his eyes and smiled. Si Ying-song was somewhat displeased but still patiently replied. Anyone is fine. Ching Yongxiang, as expected, chose the most profitable software subsidiary, ranked top 1. Si Ying-song had Alawia draft the contract, transferring ownership of that subsidiary to Ching Yongxiang as a gift. The Mingfeng was overjoyed, her mouth unable to close. Those old matters were no longer her concern. She originally just wanted people to take photos of Ching Raoe arguing with her, to say something that would bring up the illegitimate child issue. She didn't expect Ching Raoe to hit her, but she had the ability to make Si Ying-song give up his most valuable company without batting an eye. When he returned home, Ching Raoe came to the door holding a spatula. Si Ying-song hugged her. What's wrong? Ching Raoe felt sorrowful. That matter. It was the Mingfeng, right? Yes, but your father also scolded her. It's settled now. He let out a soft sigh. You've been wronged. Si Ying-song's love was like a warm spring breeze, wafting into Ching Raoe's heart. Her nose tingled, tears welled up. She wanted to say something but didn't know what. So she just hugged Si Ying-song tighter. That subsidiary was currently the hottest shopping software company in Yuncheng, a high-profit shopping app Si Ying-song had invested heavily in. Giving it to Ching Yongxiang did cause some heartache, but compared to shielding Ching Raoe from harm from the Ching family, sacrificing one subsidiary wasn't a pity. After a long while, Ching Raoe patted Si Ying-song's back. All right, go wash your hands and wait obediently for dinner. I'm cooking today. Okay. Si Ying-song responded, raising his hand to rub Ching Raoe's temple. When Ching Raoe brought out the dishes, Si Ying-song was staring out the window at the trees swaying in the wind. The wind is picking up, he said. Having read too many Domineering CEO novels, Ching Raoe couldn't resist teasing. What, CEOC? Which conglomerate are you planning to bankrupt? Si Ying-song turned his head and beamed a brilliant smile. Time to bring in the laundry, silly.